Hello?
Yo?
Are we even live? We've had a storm of issues, dog.
Can you hear us?
I'm going to lose it.
Yeah, this is...
I'm going to lose my mind.
I can't hear myself anymore.
Oh, I might have...
Oh, yeah, it's the headphones, though. It's just the headphones.
Can you guys hear us at all? I think we might be here. We have had an unimaginable day.
Guys, this is crazy. This is crazy. Still the remnants of fucking COVID for us over here. Yeah. Okay, there, my headphones are back in. Because COVID, I tried to take my goddamn webcam back to me. Yeah. I thought I grabbed the one from work. I must have put the one from work back and grabbed this one because, 3-week hiatus. I thought that I left it here this whole time. I run to Walmart before we start, grab a new webcam. That shit don't work. Or it barely works.
It don't work. Now we're here.
Oh my God. It makes us look gray and pale and washes the life out of us.
Yeah. But now we need to, hold on a second, folks.
Okay, yeah, everybody can hear us.
There we go. Now we can see the chat fully. I hope you guys can hear us completely. As you can see at the top of the screen, I hope this is working. I think this might have been what crashed OBS. We are fundraising again for PCRF. Welcome to the Vice Presidential Debate live stream. I will drop the donation link into the chat so that you all can donate. We are fundraising for PCRF. The goal tonight is $2,500. $2,500.
That would be phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I'm going to pin the message so it's so you can always see it. That's where you donate. I'm actually going to make it look a little. Donate to PCRF. If we were serious content creators.
That's true. Yeah.
We would have figured this out already. But here we are. Here we are, folks. We're not perfect. Okay, we never claimed perfection.
Yeah, exactly. Things happen. Yeah. They're still trying to take us down.
Yeah.
That's all we got, but we're still here. Once again, we are still here throughout the entire month of September. This is our October surprise, everybody.
It is.
This was our October surprise. And then the moment we go live, fuck it. OBS crashes. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's tough out here. We got broken arm disease. We got can't hook up the fucking live stream disease. Oh my goodness. You people would not believe what we've been through.
And I swear to God, they change it every time. They change it every single time. It's ridiculous.
So I'm gonna we're not even fully set up yet, if I'm being honest. I'm still dicking around over here. Can't even lie to you, but
Can we get the chat more over here, actually, maybe? Let's see.
What do you mean?
Like move it more.
Oh, you want it on this side?
Yeah, there we go. Okay. Now everything.
As long as we got OBS
so much better. Beautiful.
We do condemn political violence, but always. make sure you donate to PCRF.
Always.
I will say one of our mods reached out to us a little bit earlier and suggested that we plug donating to North Carolina as well. They were just hit with some really hard storms.
True.
Thank you for the 2 cabinet juice. I condemn Hezbollah and all political violence. Me too. Amazing. But I think it's the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund. That is like the state fund. Yes. If you want to donate to them, I suggest it as well. Unfortunately, we've got several major crises in the world right now.
Yeah. And more to come.
Yeah. People in the Levant also really need funding, and PCRF is a great organization that works not only in Palestinian territories, but throughout the Levant. They work to deliver medical supplies, food, and other things like that. So your money's going to a good cause. Goal is $2,500 tonight. Donate through the link that is pinned in the comments, and it will your name will pop up on screen. You'll see $sign go up,
and we'll celebrate.
Yeah,
green like money, just like the hat. Green like money.
So welcome to the live stream. Welcome to the live stream. I'm gonna check us on my phone real quick just to make sure we're looking good.
Don't think I didn't see all the shenanigans that were going on in the chat earlier. Don't think I didn't hear Laura say fucking Hito Boys versus YouTube Part 2. It's true, but I felt like it was degrading.
Yeah, it is us versus YouTube. I also condemn Hamas.
I condemn Hamas, YouTube, and all political violence.
But are we hyped?
As well as Hezbollah.
Are we hyped for the VP debate or what?
So hyped.
I mean, come on.
So hyped.
Tim Walz versus JD Vance. Get in here. Be good. Donate to PCRF. I want to see number go up right now. Your name will flash up somewhere up here on screen.
IDK with those fits hard. That's what I'm saying, Peter Williams. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Green like money has ruined my vocabulary. It's true though.
It is.
Taylor Clark is so hyped. Let's go.
So hyped. Donate to PCRF right now, or I'm gonna be upset.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm gonna be upset. In fact, I'm gonna So it's just us showing right now. You can't see the bingo card, right?
No.
Program just face cam. Hito's about to donate a quick $100.
Yes, we are.
As long as Gage didn't blow it all on the webcam.
Hey, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Because that's so tough. For those of you wondering, the webcam that we just got after we lost the other one blew as hell. Just completely blue.
Absolutely blue. Like it looked like cold filter on in a movie. And then we tried. It said like that it had 5 different modes. We tried to get it, and then all of a sudden the software is like, no, we don't want to work on Mac anymore. And then you can cycle through the modes on the back of the webcam. We found out.
Yeah.
I cycle through the modes. It makes us look dead, just gray as hell. Oh my goodness. Cast speak with dead. Orange like in orange.
Speak with dead.
Cast speak with dead.
So it says here at 200.
Gail ate our last webcam.
Oh, does it not update on my end until I refresh the page?
Thank you, Memphis. Thank you.
Oh, did it break through OBS because the stream crashed just as we start? Hang on, I'm gonna. Let me make sure this is working, folks, because I think more people have donated and it's just not popping up. So I'm gonna try to fix this.
Getting an ad in French. Ew.
Yeah, okay. We've raised $250 so far. I'm gonna fix the overlay because apparently it's not working. I'm telling you guys, we always have fucking issues. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, Jeremy, drop the skincare.
Skincare routine is fucking showering.
Shower, wash my face with shampoo.
Yeah, the overlay broke, I think.
Okay, well that's fun. We were so geeked about the fucking overlay, and it immediately breaks. That's great.
And now it's not letting me dick around with it. Oh, it's because
thanks for calling out for NC, guys. I've still got family we can't reach out there. That's crazy. Jesus Christ. Oh my goodness. It's actually insane how much has happened.
Okay.
That's y'all's fault for using Mac. This is ridiculous, bro.
This is discrimination.
That's discrimination. That's what I'm saying. Great college laptops. Come on now.
Is this not going to let me? All right, hold up. Let me drag OBS over here.
Jeremy is staring into your soul.
Mm-hmm. I'm so sorry.
Not streaming The Office. That's exactly how I would have put it too.
Oh wait, is it updating? No, it is. It is showing. I'm stupid. That's all it is.
Oh, okay.
I'm just dumb, actually.
And how come none of you told us that? How come not a single one of you spoke up?
Is it just not showing?
First they came for the webcam and I was silent. Then they came for the overlay and none of you said anything.
I'm saying.
No YouTube donations this time. I mean, you could if you want to donate to us, but the overarching goal of this is to donate to PCRF. But I'm not going to discourage it.
That was the thing is you can donate through the stream, but we did that last time around, and we were very successful, mind you.
Yes.
We made
amazing
some good progress. You guys very much impressed me. But YouTube took a third of that. Because that's what they do for YouTube donos, and we weren't fucking with that. So we decided to use a different platform that was recommended by another one of our moderators. That way, all of the money, 100% of it, is going to PCRF. But we made up the difference last time.
Yeah, I was going to say, importantly, we just covered the difference that YouTube took out. So we donated the extra money.
I wanted to avoid that happening again.
Yeah, because that's no fun for anyone.
But as I was saying, Hito's about to donate. Fucking payment details. Where my wallet at?
That's a great question.
I think it's in my bag.
Don't worry, you got it. Boo capitalism. That's what I'm saying, bro. It's ridiculous out here. Who's gonna top Hito's donation though? That's what I'm wondering personally. My.
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry for the fucking mess.
Any Halloween plans? Nah. Little Barty.
Nah.
Little Barty.
Okay. Luckily, I didn't struggle to get my headphones on that time. Arms a little bit more mobile, if you were wondering. I'm used to looking this way, but they're right here.
I'm used to looking this. That's why I'm thrown off because the webcam's here. I'm usually looking past the webcam to see the chat, but now I feel like I'm just looking off. That's okay though.
Who wants to see Hito business card?
Oh,
who wants to see Hito business card?
Leak the card information. 3 digits on the back. Who's gonna top Hito? That's what I'm saying.
Nobody.
Are we doing a bingo card? Of course we're doing a bingo card. Honestly, we'll be starting the bingo card in a moment. We just got to get our donation through here. What's the early guesses from the Hito community? When is the debate? It's in 45 minutes.
Yep. So it starts at 9 o'clock.
Thank you. Distractions are $2. Is a 60% cut worth big words funny on screen? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Big words funny on screen. Hito just donated 100. I don't know if that's going to pop up. I really can't see it from here.
Your whole first floor of your dorm is flooded?
Oh, I'm
so
sorry.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's horrible.
Did you live on the first floor? Hopefully not. Drop the CVV. What's the CVV? Little Barty. It's me. That's my alter ego. It's literally October 2nd. Israel's starting shit with Iran. The port strike is happening. Yeah, this shit is nuts. PlayStation and Verizon I saw Verizon was out. I didn't know PlayStation was out though. That's devastating news. How am I supposed to continue the BG3 campaign?
Precisely. And that's important, folks.
It is. We're about to enter Act 2.
Okay. Anyways, let's lock in. We're good at locking in people. We're real good at it. View campaign. Let's see how much money we've raised so far for PCRF, folks. We are at $477.
God damn.
You people are in there.
Shout out y'all for showing up and showing out.
But
came with the pocketbooks ready.
It's a Hiddo tradition at this point.
The Haitian migration thing is definitely being brought up, Gigs. Like it would be journalistic malpractice for the moderators to not bring up the Haitian migration thing with JD Vance on stage. He's the guy that did that. 2,500 goal is lowballing. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it.
577, folks.
Fucking put your money where your mouth is.
I wonder if
huge.
577. Head in the office just donated 100. 100 from Anonymous.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
25 from John Thumos.
Favorite BG3 companions. See, I'm on my first playthrough, so right now it's probably Char. Jeremy would know better, though.
Your favorite character is Shart?
Favorite companion. That's the only companion we've had with us.
Shart just misses all of her goddamn attacks.
Actually, my favorite fucking companion is Olger Bolsack. This guy right here.
I'm playing as a half-orc paladin right now. Oathbreaker paladin. Broke the oath, like, second combat encounter.
Broke the oath as soon as we pulled up on the tieflings, right?
What are the rules for the debate, asks ANZ. No live fact-checking. I believe microphones are not turned off, and I think it's a minute and a half for answers to questions, half a minute for responses, like rebuttals, although I'm not entirely sure
I think it's supposed to be same rules as last time, right?
Yeah, but the microphones are on this time.
The microphones are on. Yeah, that's
stage.
True. Char always misses. She can't hit a goddamn thing. We respect her, too. Okay. We respect her, and she still does not hit fire bolts or guiding bolts. Oh, my goodness, man.
It's upsetting. Very, very upsetting.
Olger Bolsack. No, it's Olger Bolsack. Thank you very much.
B-U-L-L, yeah.
Yeah, Olger Bolsack and Tiefman. That's what we got going on.
We got 197 people watching, $627
for the
raised
VP,
for PCRF.
For the VP debate.
For the VP debate.
For the VP debate.
For something that's not going to matter?
That's crazy. See, I thought there was no way they were going to like talk about foreign policy in any meaningful way, and I still don't think it'll be meaningful, but with what happened in the last 24 hours, they got to bring it up at least once. They got to.
Let me see what's going on with this.
No live fact-checking. There wasn't live fact-checking last time. Actually... Was no live fact checking a rule last time?
Well, the one with Kamala Harris or the one with
Kamala Harris?
I don't know because they did fact check a few times, but like, I feel like they agreed to the same rules.
You
right?
have to, because I'd seen. I don't know. These debates keep flip flopping.
Anyways,
what do you think Walz will do? I think Walz is going to dog walk him low key, but I mean, I don't know. I am kind of scared because JD Vance is like a fucking. Yale law. So I mean, you got to have at least some debate chops when it comes to that.
Now we're on to our Bingo Live card, our Bingo live stream card, Vice Presidential Debate Edition. Only one Vice Presidential Debate. It's important that we get this right, folks. Very important. This podcast blows my mind because the one named Jeremy looks like
just reading that.
Okay.
That's crazy.
And what is that? But like, what's that supposed to mean?
That's goddamn fucking blasphemy right there. Oh my God.
My question is, what's that supposed to mean? Anyways, let's do predictions. I'm going to try my best to type with my arm that's in remission.
Yes.
But we're going to make it happen.
He can do it again. He did it just for you guys.
What's the first one, folks?
Fent Square? Fent.
Got to be a Fent Square, right?
Oh, JD Vance. Fent's coming up. You think we'll...
Well, his immigrants gave his mom Fent, after all.
That's true. In the story he lied about. I cannot imagine lying on my mom's addiction. Her fucking political
tampon
points.
I was listening to my favorite podcast, Pod Save America, earlier because I got to know what the liberals are saying.
Of course.
And apparently they're gonna they've been testing out traitorous Tim as a sort of tag for Tim Walz. So we'll see if that see if that comes up.
That's insane. What is it? Fucking no, not that one. No.
I'll put tampon Tim.
I gotta refamiliarize myself with the soundboard. Yeah.
Oh my God.
It popped up. Hiddo.
Tampon Tim.
Something non-traditional family mentioned. I mean, it's like a goated matchup because Tim Walz has a very traditional family.
And they're voting for Trump.
Exactly. Oh, that's gonna get mentioned too.
Let's see. Couch mentioned. I got to put Couch on there just because I want it to happen, right?
Exactly. You know, we reserve like 15% of these squares to be just things that we want to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes we hit, sometimes we don't, but that's the name of the game.
And nobody's going to remember the VP debate anyway, so like, what's the matter?
I think JD Vance absolutely. Oh, IVF mention. I have seen so many ads.
China.
I have seen so many ads about fucking IVF. It's crazy.
Yeah. Oh, we're at 772 right now. Latest one. Let me. Oh, this is a leaderboard.
772 right
5
now.
donations.
Oh
100 from anonymous. 10 from
goodness.
anonymous.
Walz talks about guns. Oh, you think? Oh, Walz mentions that he outshoots Republicans. That's a good one.
Can I see?
Any chance the new strike gets mentioned? Yes. I think the new strike will absolutely get mentioned.
So-
you can't not you can't not mention it. Conservatives have been freaking out about it on Twitter.
25 from Taylor M. 25 from Mike CZ. $10 from Who's Up Dog.
Beautiful. Who's that?
Who dat?
What's
25
up,
from
dog?
Drew Batchelder. Okay, let me lock in. I'm terrible at locking in.
IVF 50-50.
IVF. That's what I wanted to put on here. Yes.
Okay, we got IVF. Oh God, what just happened? Laura mentions. Oh, guns. I think we definitely put a square that is Tim Walz mentions he can outshoot Republicans.
Tim Walz loves guns. I'll put it on.
Tim Walz loves guns.
Uh-huh.
JD Vance has a weird take connecting banning abortion with eliminating the need for IVF. Nah, there's no way. That's something that they want to run from. If JD Vance engages with IVF in any way, shape, or form, it will be him saying that Democrats have fabricated this story based on what happened, based on a one-off scenario in, what was it, Alabama?
Yeah.
I don't think IVF is the necessary like thing in a debate.
Stolen Valor. That's another good one. Stolen Valor. Memphis. Yeah. JD Vance is definitely going to say something racist. Yeah, I'd have to agree. It's kind of
that's a free space right there.
That's basically a free space. We'll put Springfield and Stolen Valor on here. Stolen Valor allegations.
I mean, what is it? Terrible Tim or something like that? That's terrifying. Traitorous Tim. That's insane,
Tim.
bro.
Because that's the Stolen Valor thing. Like he abandoned his unit in Iraq or whatever, even though he was never in Iraq.
I think they mentioned podcasters in the debate. I think not.
They should.
They should give me some clout.
They
bro.
really should.
Give me some clout.
Why is there not a way to see actively who is donating? That's
Walz
kind of
calls out Vance. Yeah, I wish it like popped up on our screen.
Oh, here we go. Archer with 25. Thank you very much.
25.
A few seconds ago, 25 smacks
Tiny
for PCRF.
Tiny Tim.
Stolen Valor, and I already forgot the other one. Remind me, Chad.
Oh, longshoreman strike.
Oh yeah,
I don't think that was.
Did
the
they
other
go
one,
on?
but
Are they fully on strike?
Yeah, they started striking today.
Good.
Yeah, in 24 hours we got Israel literally invades Lebanon. Iran sends like 200 missiles at Israel and longshoreman strike. That's crazy.
Vance saying, "Oh my God, yeah, I saw that clip earlier." Vance saying that a baby made from rape is God's gift.
That's insane.
Or no, he didn't call it God's gift. He said, I think he said the child is still a gift, but it's like regardless of how inconvenient the conception was.
Yeah.
He called rape inconvenient. That was crazy.
If you're Tim Walz, you have to bring that up.
100%.
You have to bring that
That's
up.
unhinged.
Like, that's ridiculous.
Lies is the free space, yeah.
Swimming with a t-shirt on.
Springfield.
Who did that?
That was JD Vance. But gotta respect it, right?
I do gotta respect that one. We should put lies on the free space. That's freer than free right there.
That's damn near guaranteed.
Venezuelan gangs.
They're off that. That's old news.
I was gonna say that rose like adjacent with the Springfield thing, but it didn't have the same bite to it. That they're
Springfield.
eating cats and dogs.
P2025. We got to get some P2025.
P2020.
Project.
JD Vance refusing to stick up for his wife.
Yeah, I know she's not white. I'm sorry,
I was
guys.
gonna say, does Tim Walz go low and just attack him for that?
Do you think they'll talk about the death penalty? Probably not. No. Democrats aren't even running on that. You know?
I think, like, as much of an issue as that obviously is, and we talked about it this week on the podcast too.
Weird.
I don't think, like, people nationally in the Democratic Party care, unfortunately. Especially when they're trying to be so goddamn Republican this cycle.
Weird space.
You think Tim Walz says something socialist? Like, vaguely socialist?
The workers need to seize the means of production.
There's
you have nothing to lose but your chains.
Spectre haunting the country.
Laura Gooner? Oh my
shit.
God. Peter Thiel backing Vance. mentioned.
Oh.
If he's smart, he'll do that.
Yeah, billionaire backers. When I was watching the goated Lions game last night, that was like half the ads.
Oh my god.
That was like half the ads.
JD Vance backed.
And I can't blame him for sinking millions in ad spend on the Lions game. That shit was gas.
That one Trump ad that was like Kamala's for they them.
Yes.
Trump's for you.
It played like 10 times, I swear.
That shit was hilarious.
It is crazy that they do have that soundbite on her though.
Yeah.
that genuinely
It's like not
shocked
that
me.
bad of a it's just like healthcare for prisoners, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
I don't disagree
Yeah.
with it, but I could see how like maybe, I don't know, an independent would or something like that. That's got to be from the 2020 primaries when everyone was pretending to be woke.
Yeah. 40 from Grace Felty. Thank you very much, Grace.
Yo,
$40. We're at 837.
free lunch.
Number go up.
Free lunch. Does free lunch get mentioned? Minneapolis burned down.
Oh yeah, under his watch.
Under his watch.
Under his watch, Minneapolis doesn't exist.
Radical BLM Marxists.
Minneapolis.
Oh, Victor Vicky, does JD Vance do some like, what is it, like crocodile tears about the assassination attempts?
Yeah.
He's like, your side and your fiery political rhetoric.
Trump has almost been killed by the radical
Speaking of
left.
fiery political rhetoric, I saw so many Republicans on the timeline after Iran launched that strike, fucking talking about how we need to get involved in a war with Iran. I don't understand. Lindsey Graham did this. I don't understand how he can get out there and do that while also trying to run on the idea that Trump is a dove. That shit is insane.
Mm-hmm.
Liberals can't spell weird. Did we misspell weird? Damn.
That's
Wired.
crazy.
That's not even Wired. I can't read. Liberals can't even read. It's staying though. 8:37 already. Let's go. Just paid rent. My surgery is next week. I hope you recover. I hope you recover quickly.
You can see at the top of the screen.
Seal Zebra $5
up there. That
JD Vance,
bar moving.
JD Vance mentioning Walz is a fake mechanic. Fox News ran that story for almost a week after Walz posted the video working on his harvester truck. Nah.
Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna cut back and
Mechanic in name only.
we'll get back to the bingo card in just a moment, folks.
Walz brings up. Yeah, we can use this time to brainstorm, everybody.
I'm gonna fix
Walz
this real
brings
quick.
up
It's
how
out of
Vance
line.
used to be a never Trumper. Oh, yeah. Especially after the dossier link, when that's like leak, where that's like what they thought that would be the bad thing. I think they mentioned that Vance is a flip flopper. I don't think it'll stick like the Kamala flip flopper thing does, but I would donate, but I'm more broke than Jeremy's elbow RN, and that's real.
So true.
And you're real for that. We understand.
So true. The chat was not lined up correctly. That should be good.
Guys, I
There you
don't get it. I don't get it. What's eared?
go. Eared.
You know,
Oh, I didn't finish the whoopsies.
Oh shit.
I get distracted so easily on live streams. It's crazy. I promise I lock in other times. I do.
God damn.
I do.
Eared. You know.
I don't fucking know. Who cares? You know, we're not live streamers by trade. We're not.
That's what I'm saying. Goodness gracious, guys. All right. We still got hella squares to fill up. And it's a VP debate, so literally anything can happen.
Eared.
Eared.
Inconvenient.
Eared. I'm so EP right now.
What are we at? We're at 847, I think.
No, there's no fucking way that JD Vance could do the Kamala isn't black thing. There's no way. Or maybe his wife's Indian, correct?
Yes.
Maybe he
I know Indian people, and
Exactly.
believe you me.
Do you think JD Vance even has a chance? I don't know. He's such a weasel. Like, he's not likable at all.
Yeah.
Well, it's saying JD isn't from Appalachia. Yes. Oh, that's a good one, actually. Stolen Appalachia Valor.
Can you guys still see? OBS is acting weird on our end. I don't know what's going on.
I'm feeling
There we go. We're good.
weird
Never mind.
in the Chili's tonight. Price gouging? The only price gouging is done by these greedy longshoremen who refuse to go to work.
All right, we need more folks. We're like halfway full.
I should be studying OChem, but I can't miss a hit live stream.
It's
at
true.
SN1, SN2 type beat. You know what I'm saying?
What's more important?
What's more important? Nucleophilic addition.
Long shot, but COVID lockdowns? I don't know if they can really pin that on.
No.
Because like
you
Tim
can't
Walz
pin
is
that on
like they're
Walz.
both there as a proxy for the presidential candidate,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Dog park rental dog. What did I miss out on? What is that?
I think that's a Tim Walz story. Biden Harris didn't do anything for hurricane victims. Yeah, I guess we can throw
Oh, he's going to
Hurricane
mention,
Helen.
he's going to say Trump donated $25 million to fucking guys, you know?
is it Helen or am I right on that?
Helene, I
Helene.
think.
I think that's how you spell it. Leftist spelling.
Tim calls out Vance on the eggs. That shit
cat
was
ladies.
funny.
Yeah, we gotta get the childless cat ladies comment in there. Like that's just an easy one.
The egg thing was hilarious because it's like so many people have to like look at these ads before they go live. I don't. It's crazy they missed that one.
Peace in the Middle East. Yeah, Jared Kushner did that.
Pray for me, guys. I work on a military base. My Trumpy coworkers are about to be on one tonight. Hey, yo, you better get ready to go to Lebanon.
Not me, broken arm.
Not me. But you, I'm gonna be praying for you. Out there.
You're right. Vance's PR team rented him a dog, and he admitted to it. He's like, "This is not even my dog."
Oh my god, it's just like the guy who fucking rented his friend's wife.
Yeah, that's just.
For all the Wednesday Wee News, you don't know about that one yet.
I'll put it on here. JD Vance rents dog.
Drag queen JD. Diet Mountain Dew, baby, New York City.
JD Vance rents dog.
Oh, I almost forgot about the Diet Mountain Dew moment. That shit was so funny.
Boys, I got nothing. God. It's all right, Laura. Boys, I got nothing.
That's all right. It's a tough one. Nobody cares about the VP debate. Nobody cares.
I'll see if I can find the clip of him renting a dog. JD Vance.
White guy tacos. You think JD Vance calls white guy tacos racist up there?
Rents dog. You hate white people.
You hate white people talking about white guy tacos. What's on it? Fish and mayo or something?
Now, the first thing that comes up is a fact check that says no, JD Vance didn't admit that he rented a dog to seem like a dog fan. But I saw a video.
Snopes fact check.
Let me see if I can find the Twitter video itself. We'll watch it.
Awkwardly ordering it. Didn't JD Vance just get denied entry to like some local business too? They're like, we don't want you here. Right. Eric Adams mentioned.
Eric Adams.
You think JD Vance?
Why is this loading threads? That's unacceptable. God. Another version of this post on Twitter. Much better.
Probably covered by stolen valor, but JD Vance saying some shit like, unlike Tim here, I actually went to Iraq. Wasn't he like a reporter or like journalist?
Military journalist.
A military journalist? None of these guys saw combat, and they love to pretend.
Let's hear it for ourselves.
He's actually a rent-a-dog that was given to me by the campaign to make me seem like I'm a dog fan. And this is weird.
Oh, apparently this is just a clip, Jim. Apparently this is out of context. Let's watch the full video.
JD Vance thinks
not the full video. This is 38 minutes.
JD somehow sides with Russia. It won't be somehow. He probably just will.
Let's see. Look, we love context.
Mike Rogers back.
Are you kidding me?
This
is the shit I'm talking about.
I'm saying. Rucker says the soundbite is out of context because he said that, but actually adopted the dog for real.
Okay. I see.
I don't think JD Vance is going to lose his cool like Trump did with the cats and dogs thing, but I think he will use the cats and dogs thing as an
American people still chose Donald Trump, but of course, what did they do? They spent the next 4 years trying to destroy them. The question is like, how do we do these things? You have to make the actual levers of government power.
Oh, it's right at the beginning.
Atlas, come.
Why did they bring a dog to the Tucker
So this is
Carlson
Atlas,
show?
Which I found out on the internet a few weeks ago that he's actually a rent-a-dog that was given to me by the campaign to make me seem like I'm a dog fan. And this
weird. To be fair, he's sitting with the dog like he doesn't like it.
I was going to say, he's sitting like he's trying to keep his distance.
And it's actually hysterical to hear these lefties be like, oh, that dog, that's totally not his dog. And, of course, we got him when he was like an 8-week-old puppy. And
I get it. Okay, it is out of context.
Fine.
Credit where credit isn't really due, but...
I'll give it to you, JD. You win this time.
I have integrity, journalistic integrity.
Yale gets this W, so we'll take it off the bingo card, because we care about the truth.
Oh, Vance says Minnesota's new flag looks like the Somali flag.
He has said that before.
As governor of Minnesota, you've catered to the Somali diaspora in Minnesota.
Minnesota times Somalia.
Atlas is for sure an Ayn Rand reference. He shrugged. He did.
Oh, not spell. Oh my God, I'm so.
Palestine and Israel. Do we have a space for them bringing up?
I probably spelled.
I think it's going to be the invasion of Lebanon, if anything.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? Classic hit of journalistic integrity. Always.
Full family can't mention. No way. There's no way.
False flag, dog. I bet that dog isn't a JD fan. There's no way.
Oh my God, why can I not spell? I'm gonna. Somalia. There we go.
As much as I would like the Marcellus Williams case to be mentioned and like platformed like on a bigger stage like this, I don't think it's going to be.
No.
White guy face off. JD calls Tim woke. Tim calls JD backwards. I do like white guy face off.
It's tough predicting this, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Let's Lebanon, the invasion of Lebanon for sure is going to get mentioned. Or honestly, not the invasion of Lebanon, the Iranian missiles. That's the only part that they're going to care about.
What are they going to... We got to be more specific. They're like, what is Vance going to say something? Is Walz going to say something?
Vance calls for something vaguely that would get us involved in the conflict.
Mm-hmm. World War III posting.
Yes. Yeah. Like, Iran needs to be stopped. We can't pull any stops out. Eyeliner mentioned. Does JD Vance wear guyliner?
Shut the hell up about Pikachu.
Taylor Swift mentioned.
Vance for real? I wonder what tabs it's going to open.
So what you're saying is it's all downhill from Mystery Inc.
Wait, is this going to get us copyright striked? I can't look at this right now. Donovan's trying to take down the stream. Hopefully that doesn't get us taken down.
No, we're chilling. It wasn't 15 seconds.
Tim Walz talks about his past as a teacher.
That's a good one. You know, as a teacher, as a social studies teacher, Vance suggests a draft.
So big tweets a slur.
That one's good. If we had a bingo card that was supposed to run like auxiliary to the debate, adjacent to the debate, that'd be right on there. Oh my god.
Oh yeah. JD or Tim Walz's family is voting for Trump.
Oh yes.
100%.
Huh.
Walz
as a couch
family.
I'm glad JD got up off the couch to be here.
Supports.
I don't want to speak for Trump. That's so good.
Yeah. Because he's been getting in trouble about that. That's excellent. So I'll put that in some scare quotes.
Nebraska? No, they're not going to bring up the Nebraska thing.
To speak.
Ivy League schools.
Donald.
That's a good one too. Shit. This guy went to Yale. This guy went to an Ivy League school,
and that's a damning allegation.
This guy went to an Ivy League school and gets money from a billionaire. He's not like us.
Ivy League.
Walz makes a football reference. If Walz shouts out the Lions, Jared Goff 18 for 18 last night.
Jared Goff went crazy.
He did. Jared Goff 18 for 18.
I was watching that live.
First career receiving touchdown.
Oh yeah.
It was a beautiful moment.
Trans operations for illegal immigrants. Yup, classic.
Yeah. Okay, we got 3 spaces left.
Mm-hmm.
These got to be good ones. Let's
see.
We have the what was it? I just lost it. Oh, Walz military. We have the stolen valor in here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Illegal immigrants.
Trump watches. I wish. They've never once brought up his grifts before.
They should bring up the watches though, because that's crazy.
It is crazy, and honestly, I feel like people don't pay enough attention to all of the shit that he sells to supporters that is just crap. Like, Fox News will hype it up, but nobody else cares. Like,
double Israel.
Oh, yes.
Well, let's call it Israel glaze off.
Minnesota rule, mind your own damn business. One person's socialism is another person's neighborliness.
Fracking. I love fracking.
We're not in Pennsylvania this time.
I love fracking.
Drill, flack, and burn. When are they going to start trying to appeal to Michigan voters like they try to appeal to Pennsylvania voters?
Mm-hmm. I think they've kind of given up on that.
Mind your own damn business.
Let's see. We've raised $897 for PCRF
Damn,
so
that's
far.
crazy,
folks.
guys.
We're almost at 1,000. Can you get us there before the debate starts? Can we get to 1,000 before the debate starts?
That would be cool. We've got a solid 22 minutes.
Latest one is $25 from Anonymous.
Oh.
So thank you very much, Anonymous.
Coach teacher reference. I feel like that's good. Dude, I live in Nebraska and we have been getting nonstop ads about the Electoral College switch. Honestly, I'm sick of the ads. I'm sick of the ads. I wish I could somehow prove that I'm a high information voter and could just fucking skip them. You know how many times I had to hear Kamala's for they them last night? I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, can I opt out?
Oh, Vance mispronouncing Kamala. Just like Chapel Roan, one and the same. Ridiculous. Midwest princesses.
Can we get to 1,000? That's the question.
Walz is going to correct Vance on his pronunciation of Kamala. Yeah. I could see it. We have one space left?
We got one space left.
Oh, we got to make it good.
Unless we want to get rid of something before we finalize it and send it out.
Yeah, maybe we throw something in there and then we can do some reviews. Vance calls the Vikings
mid. They're 4-0. You can't call the Vikings mid. They're 4-0. I think. Minneapolis burning away. We do have Minneapolis burned down on here.
Yes, absolutely.
We do have Minneapolis burning down.
It was
because it did. It's gone.
It was Tim Walz's fault.
Yeah, Tim did that.
They're transing the kids. We actually have they're transing the prisoners. That's the big
and that's
one
the more
now.
damning allegation. Suggestion from my dumb husband. Jimmy Carter turns 100. Just fucking shitting on the husband. Damn.
Hell yeah.
From my dumbass of a husband. Walz says Israel has the right to defend themselves. Yeah, double Israel glaze off.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to happen, unfortunately.
Sports reference. I think so. I think it's safe to say that Walz will bring up football in some capacity.
I got Coach Walz on here.
You got? Oh, we do have Coach Walz?
I got Coach Walz.
Easy.
Teacher / Coach Walz. I feel like that's all the same.
Teamsters don't support Kamala. Yeah. I mean, I could see it happening, but that's so easily rebutted with literally every other fucking union.
I did don't look at that.
And it's just a fucking Mr. Teamsters that doesn't support Kamala. Didn't a bunch of Teamsters break off and do like a separate thing where they're like, no, we don't fuck with this guy. One of the Seans, I can't remember if it's O'Brien, O'Malley, fucking something.
I was trying to just I forgot to put the shit on the Patreon. How could I forget? I think most of the patrons are probably here anyway, but I'm going to
most of our most loyal and dedicated fans and friends.
Let me just make sure it's on the Patreon, though, while you guys cook up the last one.
Nah. Oh, my God.
Justice for dumb. That's what I'm saying.
That's what I'm saying.
Let's see.
Inconvenient birth.
Put the YouTube. Let me say VP Debate Live.
No, I would love it if JD Vance brought up the fact that Walz doesn't have any assets, but that discourse has to live on Twitter. It cannot make the jump from Twitter to real life, or I don't know what I'd do. Or else we'd need to set the cultural reset like they tried to do with COVID.
One last time. All right, I'll put inconvenient births on there. It was a pretty awful statement from JD Vance, and they did just run like an ad or a post or whatever. So I'll throw it up.
I don't think they do trans girls in sports. I think the trans thing will be firmly centered around prisoners. Crazy fucking thing to say, but that's the world we live in.
If we get JD Vance to somehow drop fucking like Tim Walz doesn't have any assets, that'd be so funny.
Yeah, I talk about out of touch.
Inconvenient births. They're inconvenient, folks. As Charlie Kirk said, that baby will be born. That baby will be born. He looked that girl in the face and said that the baby will be born. All right, folks, does this look good?
I think so. Is there anything we want to amend with the final lookovers?
Yeah, we got about 17 minutes before debates start, so we got some time.
Guns. We have guns on there. Yeah. We have Tim Walz out shooting his Republican colleagues. Thank you, parasocial friends. No. Non.
Yeah, it's good to be back in the fucking live stream chair.
Calling Kamala communist.
Kamala.
How do they pronounce it? It's like
they said Kamala or Kamala. No, Kamala's correct.
Yeah.
Kamala.
That's what it is. Okay.
I'm so woke. I can't say it wrong.
Exactly. I can't even utter it.
I can't do it.
I can't even utter it. I don't know about the couch, TBH. I don't think the couch.
907 for PCRF raised through this live stream already.
Oh my God! Link can we get 1,000 in 20 minutes?
Link is pinned in the chat. Link is also in the description of this live stream. Go there, donate any amount, whatever you got to give. It's a tumultuous region, especially with Israel gearing up. We're already conducting full-scale war at this point. So.
Fent is functionally a permanent fixture on the Hit Bingo card.
Fent!
It is. It is.
For as long as it's an issue, right?
As much as of a real issue the opioid epidemic is, they make it an absolute joke. Conservatives explicitly. Like the shit that they were saying in the primary debates, which were like around this time last year, weren't they? Around this time last year is when we got
It started in August. Yeah.
Fucking Vivek Ramaswamy going, they're building tunnels that can bring semi-trucks of Fent underneath.
Mm-hmm. Also, if you're not already a patron, consider becoming a patron.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Great access to early episodes, you know?
Fent posting will be forever. Fent posting is forever. All right, I'm going to cut us back to when it's just our face.
I think there was also something that came out that said either like this month or last year or this year or something, overdose deaths declined like the most they had ever. There was something that was like something is going right with the opioid epidemic issue. I can't exactly remember the stat. I saw it on.
I also
Majority Report.
recently saw that it was like 94% of all police precincts participated in like crime reports for the last year, and crime was down basically everywhere.
Nice.
So they can't say it's only like 30% of police precincts participating.
Fent rockets. Oh my! I love that story, bro.
That was the same week.
So good.
That was the same week as Mein Kampf in a children's room in Gaza. Can you believe that? We got both of those in the same week. Yeah.
Seal Zero is another $2. The word psyop is mentioned by someone. Fans.
Let me airdrop this to
Has
myself.
he been doing that, Chris? Just a solid $10. A solid $10.
Gotta respect
Excellent.
Gotta respect it. Let me airdrop this to myself.
Condemnation of Hamas from a loyal patron. K. Hunyer.
I condemn Hamas. And look, I recently learned that Mossad has its headquarters in Tel Aviv. Israel's using human shields. I condemn Israel.
Can you believe it?
I'm a consistent person. Gotta condemn the use of human shields. Forever and always.
God, that was crazy when we were getting another like insane like I guess like story out of Israel of something they found in someone in Gaza's room. Hitler on the iPad.
That was funny too. All right, this is getting dropped in the Discord and the general. You guys all know the rules by now.
300 viewers.
You all know the rule. 300 viewers for the VP debate. That's not going to matter. Let's go. Hey, you all stay, and while you're here, donate to PCRF.
Exactly.
Link is in the pinned comment.
Right at the top.
All right, dropping the bingo card, folks.
This is good.
Bingo. Bingo.
So I guess that just means
It is in the general chat. I'm going to post it on Twitter as well. You guys have to keep track for us, and we'll take the sort of aggregate of all of the bingo cards at the very end, and we'll see if we got a bingo. We're pretty good at this, though.
Boys, when are we doing another movie night? That's a great question, honestly. The last movie night was actually really fun. I can't even lie.
It was a good time. We'll have to do another one soon. Discord event went really well last time, too, with the presidential debate, so that was... we have the capacity.
I'm seeing a general sentiment that y'all are here for us and not the VP debate. That's great. That's perfect.
All right, it's on Twitter. It's in our general chat on Discord. I think we're ready to go just about. I think I'm going to pull up
Thank you.
a YouTube
Daniel.
stream, Washington Post. Let's hope. Now, we've watched Washington Post live stream before of presidential debates, and sometimes their stream is laggy, so we'll switch if it's not up to snuff, as it were.
Oh, I thought that was JD Vance for a moment. Let's watch Matt Walsh's new movie. So I live in in a red county. At the local movie theater, they are screening it at the theater.
That's so
oh my
sick.
God, it was so jarring to see it actually make the jump from online to real life.
And see, that's necessary, you know.
Did you used to watch Jeremy Johns for like movie reviews? Damn. Dangerously close to your name and look, mind you. But he used to be this like big movie reviewer, and there was some controversy like 2 weeks ago because he came out and he reviewed Am I Racist? And I don't know if he gave it like a positive thing. I just saw the discourse around it, but he's like, actually, I thought it was kind of funny at times. Ridiculous. Chris Stuckman would never.
Fucking movie reviewer. Are you going to see Megalopolis?
I kind of want to see Megalopolis.
I heard that shit sucked.
I heard it was
that
bad,
shit sucked.
but it was entertaining and kind of funny. Go to the club. I could never deliver that line like Adam Driver does.
I've just seen lots of discourse about it. I actually have no take. I'm takeless.
Takeless, yeah, exactly.
I say Jeremy review it. The fentanyl talking point can never go away because of the opioid crisis is fixed, and that means the entire healthcare system would need to be reconstructed, prioritizing patient health over profit. Yeah, basically. And it's not going to happen.
So what I'm hearing is Fent is a permanent fixture on the Hito Bingo card.
Put another way, Civil War's on Max. Yeah, I still need to watch that too.
Civil War fucks. You know what? I'll come out and say it. That was another instance where we were wrong. In the beginning, we came out and we said Civil War movie, not about like actual American politics. That's corny. I watched it. It's gas. That movie fucks, actually. And I will die on this hill. There is so much discourse online about how it misses the point. How are you doing a Civil War without politics? It is about photojournalism, and it is a condemnation of its main characters. They are all awful people, and they make the wrong choices by the end, and the movie is aware of that. I do not care what Alex Garland had to say in interviews, death of the author and whatnot. Dude, that's on everything right there. Oh my goodness.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness.
So we've raised $1,252 for PCRF so far.
How much?
For those counting.
Oh my.
That's halfway. That's halfway to the goal. We might have to raise the goal. We might have to up the ante. We're raising money for folks.
Could you imagine we raise more than we did during the presidential, during the VP?
And we've had a slew of issues this time. I got a broken goddamn elbow. I'm in remission.
Civil War is actually great
guys.
as a portrayal of front life photographers. I've heard as much from real frontline photographers. I mean, even if it's not great as a portrayal of frontline photographers, it's great as a portrayal of like issues with like. I could talk about this movie for fucking days. Maybe next summer Gage will drop some fucking video essays about goddamn Civil War. It's genuinely so fucking good. Like you see it in the scene in the beginning when she's talking. I forget that the goddamn webcam's over here. In the scene in the beginning where our main character, Kirsten Dunst's character, is like having the flashback when she just watched that dude burning, that is supposed to set the tone for why everything is bad in the whole movie. I've seen criticisms talking about how they're only taking pictures of the combat. They're not taking pictures of like the little moments like in the stadium. That's the fucking point. These characters are focused on the wrong thing. I could do this for hours. Gage is Chris Stuckman for real. Oh my God. Oh, you're so kind. Yeah, fucking head in the movie video essays coming out soon. Gage would make a great replacement for Jerry the King Lawler at a professional wrestling table. What can I say, guys? I never watched pro wrestling, but I appreciate it. I do. Has Ito overtaken Hasanabe out one day, maybe? Movie night for Civil War? Maybe, honestly. Maybe we could make that happen. I've been itching to rewatch that movie again. Gage does Kino reviews. Yes, please. I can see you. Oh my God. I could see some film theory to back things up. A big fan of film theory. Big video essay head over here. How do you feel about the JJK ending? All right, I'm going to lock onto that comment and then not read others while I talk about the JJK ending. I think the JJK ending was actually pretty good, if not really good. See, the last chapter is a good conclusion for the characters. However, the two chapters before that, 269 and 270, I thought were a bit rushed, but it's most definitely because of Gege getting sick after the one incident that brought us to a 3-week hiatus, causing it to be rushed. I think the anime will expand it, but I think it was good. I think everything, especially up through 268, was very good till the conclusion of the Shinjuku Showdown. I could talk about JJK for days as well. Oh my goodness. You guys scream a lot less than Hassan. That's pretty pog. Thank you. You know, I try. Gage carried the pod when times were tough. That's what I'm saying. Now, me and Jeremy have both had a solo episode. If you don't remember, during Roe v. Wade, when Roe v. Wade got overturned, Jeremy came up for an emergency pod. I think I had an exam that day, so I couldn't make it. So 1 for 1 now. Well, we're on anime. Where are you at in One Piece right now, Gage? Favorite Straw Hat? Okay, in One Piece, I'm on Dressrosa. I don't want to say I'm nearing the end. I don't know how long the Doflamingo fight is, but I'm just starting the Doflamingo fight. Law and Luffy just pulled up. My favorite Straw Hat, definitely Luffy. For a while, it was Zoro. And then it stopped being Zoro because he wasn't doing anything. And then after Thriller Bark, it was Zoro because the nothing happens moment. And now I just fuck with Luffy. He's good.
Not Tim Walz, though.
Not Tim Walz. But Dressrosa has fucked so far, other than Rebecca's character design. Genuinely fucking jarring. But Law would be my favorite character other than the Straw Hats. Law fucks. Rob Lucy, best villain. Enos Lobby, best arc.
All right, folks. How we doing? We're at 12:52 right now. It's incredible. Let's see how many viewers we got for the stream. We got 334 on our end at least.
Cassie should go to TJ.
All right. Let's see if I can get these headphones back on.
What else is on your manga anime list? Right now, honestly, I'm just trying to get through One Piece. JJK retrospective Patreon exclusive. If enough people demand it, I will set our next Patreon goal for a JJK retrospective for a goddamn Gojo identity video essay. But
That shit will go crazy.
I'm on manga anime list right now. I want to start Don to Don. I hear that's really good. I'm reading Chainsaw Man. The chapter today was fucking fire. Chainsaw Man fucks. Chainsaw Man is my favorite manga. Jujutsu Kaisen probably my favorite new gen anime.
This is important. Peter Williams said, I found you guys to honestly be a bit more objective than Hassan. Hassan comes off, understandably at times, a bit aggressive.
Yes.
I think you guys appeal to normies. I don't know your analytics. Thank you so much, Peter.
That would be great. That's the fucking goal. And Caleb Horn at the $5. How about a book club or book review for you guys?
We got a book club.
Yeah, we did.
We've done one book, and that was back in, 22?
We did Hillary Clinton's State of Terror.
No, State on Terror.
That shit sucked. It sucked so bad. Jinro movie night win. I want to watch Jinro, actually.
Thank you for the 5.
I hear it's very good. Oh, goodness.
I do so much reading elsewhere. I'm a slow reader, guys. I'm very slow.
Yes.
But maybe we could do another Hito book club.
Yeah, this guy read a lot for school.
Anyways,
I'm out here reading One Piece. It's so goddamn long. I'm on chapter 760. I got 400 more to go.
We got 6 minutes, 5 minutes until the debate. We've hit already halfway to our goal.
Yeah.
Very proud of you guys.
I also want to read Kagurabachi. I hear that's very good too. I think I talked about that last debate though.
Book club with weekly meetings.
Heading the pages.
What do you guys think of these first 10 pages?
That's it, basically.
What are the literary motifs we can point out?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, guys, I love these tropes. Behind the Bastards in the Hill are my top 2. Good top 2. Assassination Classroom plug. I haven't seen Assassination Classroom, but I've heard it's good. I also, honestly, I've never seen Mob Psycho.
I watched
really need to
Assassination
get around to
Classroom last year when I was sick with COVID.
Is it gas?
It was only 2 seasons, so it was real quick. It was pretty good.
See, when I was sick with COVID, I got halfway through Dressrosa. I was very proud of myself for that. I finished Punk Hazard. I really liked Punk Hazard. I think that's a hot take, though. I feel like y'all would like Gundam. I don't know. I've thought about it, but I've never really itched to get into Gundam. Looks like Jeremy's drinking IPA.
Oh no. This is Booch. Certified Booch. Is this backwards for you guys? Have we been backwards the whole time?
Oh, can you not see my hat? Green like money.
Have we been mirrored?
Green like money. Like all these donations coming in. Hey,
I don't know if I can fix
link
that
at the
right
top.
now.
Make sure to donate to PCRF, everybody.
OBS.
What's your favorite JoJo part? God, I haven't seen JoJo, guys. I haven't seen JoJo or Hunter x Hunter. I really need to. I fuck with FMA Brotherhood.
What cough meds is Jeremy drinking? It's kombucha. Stop. I don't think I can flip the camera now. I don't want to mess with OBS because it crashed earlier. I don't want this stream to die.
I have read Berserk, Jamie. I think Berserk fucks. However, it is problematic, but I think it engages with how problematic the Eclipse and parts of the Golden Age were as it goes on through the Millennium Falcon arc. I fuck with Berserk.
Oh, wait.
Not getting through all One Piece and get those numbers up. Guys, I'm trying. Trying so hard.
Oh, I know what it is. Hang
Favorite
on.
arc of Dragon Ball Cell. Easy.
Filters. Nope, not filters.
I've seen Full Metal Alchemist. Full Metal Alchemist fucks.
Transform. Here we go.
Transform, just like those prisoners. Just like those illegal immigrant prisoners. When I was 14, my brother who worked at TPUSA took me to see Dinesh D'Souza's America movie. There should be a movie marathon of all. Dinesh D'Souza makes movies?
Dinesh.
That's crazy. I forgot about him. He stopped showing up on our Twitter.
Here we go.
Oh shit, webcam, right click, transform, flip horizontal.
Yeah. I was trying to get there. Yep, okay.
That's crazy.
We don't do this by trade, folks. We don't. Okay. Debate's about to start. I guess we will pull up these folks' live coverage. I'm going to make sure we're at 1080 here. 720. Oh, can't watch this stream. It's 720p.
Oh my goodness. I have standards, people.
We can do better.
I have
than
standards.
This. Let's see. They're on CBS. Does CBS have their own stream? Fucking woke. What are we doing? I'll watch it on NBC. Oh,
So
Kamala
the
Harris.
team decided
Let's
to
go.
do a fun competition.
Competition.
No free advertisement.
Have you been watching Penguin? Dude, that shit is gas.
Is it good?
It's actually really good.
I don't know why everyone gets a show.
It was that's how I felt about it, and I felt like I was feeling the fatigue. But I watched the first 2 episodes; they're actually so good. That's how I'm trying to play Gideon, low key, but not evil.
Real ones know about Gideon. Why don't y'all ever check out the D&D live stream?
I'm saying every Wednesday.
We cook.
Much fun. Let's go. Yeah, no, the way that Penguin fucking lies in that show. Oh my god, that's how I'm trying to play
Here we go,
Gideon.
1080p quality, and we're gonna.
Donovan
switch
knows
over.
what's up.
And we're going to switch over. Turn on the audio.
And oh, brother.
It doesn't look like 1080p to me, folks.
Walz with a social studies teacher.
All right, this audio is terrible. Maybe it might be better quality once the candidates actually come up on the stage. But we're excited. That's important.
Nice.
Oh, brother.
Oh, brother. I'm going to use the bathroom before they get into it. I'll be right back.
Can you even get out?
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
All right, bet. Shout out if you're in North Carolina or any of the folks, or any of the states, I suppose, affected by the storms, the hurricane that's been coming through. It's terrible stuff. I saw some of the pictures, especially like Asheville, North Carolina, just water as far as the eye could see. It was terrible. I know we have some listeners from North Carolina, so I hope you're doing all right. First, I'm hearing of the D&D lives. We'll plug it again. Next session is tomorrow night, starting at 7 p.m. We'll plug it again as long as everyone's cool with it. But yeah, every Wednesday we're playing D&D. It's a good time. 1 second. They'll need to advertise D&D better. Well, I mean, it's not like a Hiddo explicit thing, you know what I'm saying? It's not like, oh shit. It's not meant to be like a Hiddo thing necessarily, because it's not. There's other people there too that aren't Hiddo affiliated.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I don't think we've ever plugged the D&D thing.
We did
on the
once.
show.
We did once, but y'all don't fuck with us.
That's what I'm saying. Y'all don't listen to the end. I swear to God. Like,
what time is it? It's 9:00. Where's the debate? All right, I'm gonna pick a different one. I'm getting
lazy
anxious.
liberals.
I'm getting anxious about it. USA Today.
Yeah, we do a D&D thing. One of our comrades might die. It's actually ridiculous. Prayers up for Silvius.
Am I tripping? What is going on? I'm about to crash out, guys. It says, maybe they're just not ready yet. I don't know.
Who's a part of the D&D? It's us. Baja Brain Blast is the DM, and then there's 3 other people. They're just people.
It's on a Baja Brain Blast can plug it.
Oh shit! I need to upload the backlog of episodes. Yeah, Donovan will upload the backlog eventually, and then you can watch it. Gideon goes crazy.
I'm a fucking thief rogue. Rogue best class.
I'm a warlock.
Oh, here we go.
Oh, easy.
Where is the audio?
What the fuck? Lazy liberals, I swear to God.
United States. Democratic Governor Tim Walz of Minnesota and Republican Senator JD Vance of
Can you all hear it?
Now, this is likely the final debate of this election
so
cycle,
quiet.
and voting is already underway in
It's as loud
20
as it's gonna
states.
go.
CBS News polling shows
That's
this
crazy.
remains
Okay.
a race
All
either presidential candidate could
Kissing
win.
backstage
The
right
CBS
now.
News vice presidential debate starts
Lovers
now.
to enemies?
Fight for every single vote, and we're
Holy shit.
Oh shit.
are ready to continue
We can
to build the
switch.
future
Actually,
together.
since they're not here, we can switch channels that are live streaming this if it's not good enough for you guys. I don't know why it's
Let us know if it's hard for you to hear.
Kamala Harris.
It's soft. All right, I'll switch. I don't know why the live.
Why
It's because
the
nobody
show is so
cares.
funny.
It's because nobody cares. We'll go to ABC's stream. See if theirs is any better. If it'll
Agreed to. Questions will
this
be
is
directed at
so much
one
clearer.
candidate
Yeah, that's better.
who will have
Yeah.
2 minutes to respond.
Good.
The other
Good.
candidate will be
Hands
allowed 2
immediately.
minutes for rebuttal.
Yeah, I keep
then
fucking-
each
Yeah, all right,
candidate will
whatever.
get another minute to make further
this one's
points,
better.
with an additional 1 minute each at the discretion of the moderator. The primary role of the moderators is to facilitate the debate between the candidates, enforce the rules, and provide the candidates with the opportunity to fact-check claims made by each other.
Damn, she's posing.
CBS News reserves the right to mute the candidates'
JoJo Part
microphones
10.
to maintain decorum.
This feels unreal.
We have not shared
Like, I
questions
don't know
or
what's going on.
topics
Something
with
about
the
this is
campaigns. The stage is set. Governor,
We're at
Senator,
1300,000.
Oh my God, why are the
thank you for
podiums so
joining us.
tiny?
Let's get started.
All right, let's lock
Tonight,
in.
our country is facing several
ready.
unfolding crises.
near
The Middle East is
emasculating.
on the brink of war. Americans are suffering from
Middle
the
East is on the brink of
catastrophic
war.
impact of Hurricane Helene. And now a labor strike as 25,000 dock workers from Maine to Texas
this shit
are
all
leaving.
happened.
She was squeaking
We're
in
going
the
to begin
background.
tonight with the
This
Middle
shit
East.
all happened in the
Margaret.
last 24
Thank you,
hours,
Nora.
too.
Earlier today, Iran launched its largest attack yet on Israel, but that attack failed, thanks to joint U.S. and Israeli defensive action.
Oh, no.
President Biden has
already
deployed
glazing.
more than 40,000 U.S. military personnel and assets to that region over the past year to try to prevent a regional war. Iran is weakened, but the U.S. still considers it the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, and it has drastically reduced the time it would take to develop a nuclear weapon. It is down now to 1 or 2 weeks' time. Governor Walz, if you were the final
JCPOA.
voice in the Situation Room,
Biden
would you
could've
support
re-entered.
or oppose a
He
preemptive
looks
strike
nervous.
by Israel on Iran. You have 2 minutes.
Yes.
Well, thank you. And thank you for those joining at home tonight. Let's keep in mind where this started. October 7th, Hamas terrorists massacred over 1,400 Israelis.
I was born on October 7th, 2023.
History started on October
Israel's
7th.
ability to be able
2023.
to defend itself is absolutely fundamental. Getting its hostages back, fundamental. And
They don't
ending
care
the
about that, though.
humanitarian
I'm
crisis
saying.
in
Yeah, are the hostages in Lebanon?
Gaza. But the expansion of Israel and its proxies is an absolute fundamental necessity for the United States to have the steady leadership there. You saw it experienced today, where
Expansion.
along with
Israel
our
and its proxies?
Israeli partners and our coalition, able to stop the incoming
What? Israeli
attack.
proxies?
Did bro
What's
just leak
fundamental
State
here
Department
is
secrets?
that steady leadership is going to matter. It's clear.
The
and world
infiltration
saw
of
it on that
Mossad
debate stage a
agents
few
into
weeks
the
ago.
Iranian government.
A nearly
That's
80-year-old Donald
instrumental.
Trump talking about crowd sizes is not what we need in this moment.
Bro,
But it's not
completely
just
dodged
that.
the
It's
preemptive
those that were
strike question.
closest to Donald Trump that understand how dangerous he is when
He's
the
the
world is
fucking
this
vice
dangerous.
president, bro.
His chief of staff, John Kelly, said that he was the most flawed human being he'd ever met. And both of his secretaries of defense and his national security advisors said he should be
They got my
nowhere
boy
near the White
Walz.
House. Now, the person
Yeah.
closest to them,
Let him be progressive.
Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance. What we've seen out of Vice President Harris is we've seen steady leadership. We've seen a calmness that is
Neither of
able to
them
be
look
able to
confident.
draw
Yeah.
on the coalitions to bring them together. Understanding that our allies matter. When our allies see
Let me know if you
Donald
guys can still
Trump
hear.
turn towards Vladimir Putin, turn towards North Korea, when we start to see that type of fickleness around holding the coalitions together, we will stay committed. And as the vice president said today is, we will protect our forces and our allied forces, and there will be consequences.
Governor, your
That
time
sucked.
is up. Senator
Yeah,
Vance,
okay,
the
all
same
right.
question. Would you support
Let me know if
or
you guys can still
oppose
hear. I
a
messed with the
preemptive
audio
strike
options.
by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
If only Nikki
Morgan,
Haley
I
was
want
on the
to answer
debate
the
stage.
question. First of all,
Yes.
thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and
Just ripped
caring
that
enough
line
about
from
this country to
Tim
pay
Walz.
attention to this vice presidential
Copycat.
debate. I want to answer the
Lightning
question,
slow.
but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are.
That wasn't the
I was
question.
raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother required Social Security help to raise me, and she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country, for the American dream that made it possible for me to live my dreams. And most importantly, I know that a lot of you are worried about the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes.
The question was about a
I'll be
preemptive
saying-
strike.
Better leadership in the White House. If we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable
He didn't
once
even
again.
do the Trump wouldn't
Now,
have
to answer
started
this
this
particular
thing.
question,
Yeah.
we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually
never mind.
delivered stability in the world, and he did it by
Peace to the Middle
establishing
East.
effective deterrence.
He did it by
People were
killing
afraid
Qasem
of stepping out
Soleimani.
of line. Iran, which launched this attack,
He
has
did it
received
by
over
getting out of the
$100 billion
JCPOA.
in
He did
unfrozen
it by
assets
making all
thanks
this
to the
worse.
Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well. Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line,
Peace
the
through
United
strength.
States glebal
Peace
leadership would
through
put
ruining our
stability and
relationship
peace
with
back
Iran.
in
Hitler said,
the
like,
world.
actually?
Now, you
Peace
asked
through
about a
strength?
preemptive
Probably
strike,
some
Margaret.
other
And
I don't
answer
know.
the
It's very
question. Look,
fash.
it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe.
No, it's
and
not.
we should support our
It's literally
allies
not.
wherever they are when they're fighting the bad
Yeah,
guys.
when it's on
I
our
think
dollars.
that's the
They
right
love to
approach
talk
take
about our
with the
tax
Israel
dollars
question.
when it's Ukraine.
Thank you, Senator. Governor Walz, do you care to
Why did
respond
he
to any of the
introduce
allegations?
himself?
Well, look, Donald Trump was in office. We'll sometimes hear a revisionist history, but when Donald Trump was in
Okay.
office, it was Donald Trump who we had a coalition
JCPOA?
of nations that had boxed Iran's nuclear program.
Oh my
in,
God,
the
easy.
inability to advance it.
Easy.
Donald Trump pulled that program.
Let's go.
And put nothing else in its place.
Yup.
So Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership.
Let's go.
And when Iran shot down an American aircraft
JCPOA
in
mentioned.
international airspace, Donald Trump tweeted, because that's the standard diplomacy of Donald Trump.
shit.
And when Iranian missiles did fall near U.S. troops and they received traumatic brain injuries, Donald Trump wrote it off as headaches. Look,
That's
our
true.
allies
That's
understand
insane.
that Donald Trump is fickle. He will go to whoever has the most flattery or where it makes sense to him. Steady leadership like you witnessed today, like you witnessed in April. Both Iranian attacks were repelled. Our coalition is strong, and we need the steady leadership that Kamala Harris is providing.
That's a banger answer
Senator
right
Vance,
That's good.
the
That's really
U.S.
good.
did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal.
Prevented.
He recently said,
enrichment of
just
uranium,
5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are
interesting.
impossible.
Funny how that works.
So he's a
Did he make a
flip-flopper.
mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first of all, Margaret, diplomacy
I'm
is
not gonna
not a
speak for
dirty
Trump.
word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been.
Because you-
and Governor Walz,
your
you blamed
guy
Donald Trump,
backed out of the
who has
JCPOA.
been the vice president for the last 3.5 years, and the answer is your running mate, not mine. Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th,
this
which I
isn't gonna
appreciate
sway
Governor Walz
anybody,
bringing up.
but like,
when did Iran
That was
and
my
Hamas
thought.
and their proxies attack Israel? It was during...
That was my thought. Is like nobody cares about foreign policy. Unfortunately,
especially the JCPOA.
they care even less about vice presidential candidates talking about foreign policy.
Is how you bring stability back to a very broken world.
I can
Donald
appreciate
Trump
it as a
has already
rhetorician,
done it
though.
once before. Ask yourself at home. When was the last time? I'm 40 years old. When was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
I'm your vice president.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you.
Where are you at in your ovulation cycle?
The storm could become one of the deadliest on
you in your
record.
utero
More than 160 people are dead and hundreds more are missing. Scientists say climate change makes these hurricanes larger, stronger, and more deadly because of the historic rainfall.
Right.
Senator Vance, according to CBS News polling, 7 in 10 Americans and more than 60% of Republicans under the age of 45 favor the U.S. taking steps to try and reduce climate change.
He's trying to hold it
Senator,
together.
what responsibility would
every
the
3
Trump
minutes.
administration
I thought I
have to
turned them
try
off.
and reduce
Sorry, folks.
the impact of climate change? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Sure. So first of all, let's start with the hurricane because it's an unbelievable, unspeakable human tragedy. I just saw today actually a photograph of 2 grandparents on a roof with a 6-year-old child, and it was the last photograph ever taken of them because the roof collapsed and those innocent people lost their lives. And I'm sure Governor Walz joins me in saying our hearts go out to those innocent people, our prayers go out to them,
better be like
and
Project
we want as
2025 is
robust
gonna
and
try to defund
aggressive as a
FEMA.
federal response as we can get to save as many lives as possible, and then of course afterwards to help the people in those communities rebuild. I mean, there's communities that I love.
Like
some of them I know very personally.
Kentucky.
In Appalachia, all the way across the southeast.
Grandpa.
They need their government to do their job, and I commit that when Donald Trump is president again, the government will put the citizens of this country first when they suffer from a disaster. Now, Nora, you asked about climate change. I think this is a very important issue. Look, a lot of people are justifiably worried about all these crazy weather patterns. I think it's important for us, first of all, to say Donald Trump and I support clean air, clean water. We want the environment to be cleaner and safer. But one of the things that I've noticed some of our Democratic friends talking a lot about is a concern about carbon emissions, this idea that carbon emissions drives all of the climate change. Well, let's just say that's true, just for the sake of argument.
Is he going to talk about Taylor
weird
Swift
science. Let's
versus
just
like
say
the
that's
average
true.
emission or some
Well,
shit?
if you believe that, what would you want to do? The answer is that you'd want to reshore as much American manufacturing as possible.
What?
And you'd want to produce as much energy as possible in the United States of America, because we're the cleanest economy in the entire world.
You want to burn coal over here on American soil. You want to pollute
more manufacturing overseas.
What is he talking about?
We want to bring the manufacturing that is polluting the air in China and bring it over here.
Carbon emissions they're doing per unit of economic output. So if we actually care about getting cleaner air and cleaner water, the best thing to do is to double down and invest in American workers and the American people. And unfortunately, Kamala Harris has done exactly the opposite.
Governor Walz, you have 2 minutes.
Pollute our air, pollute our water.
Yes, because all those things are happening.
Dump it in the
first
river.
of all, it is a horrific tragedy with this hurricane, and my heart goes out to the folks that are down there in contact with the governors. I serve as co-chair of the Council of Governors. As we
Biden
work
moment?
together on these emergency management.
Honestly,
Governors
he does look
know
like
no
he's trying
partisanship.
really hard
They
to
work
hold it
together.
together.
To all of the governors and the emergency responders are on the ground. Those happen on the front end. the federal government comes in, makes sure they're there to that we recover. But we're still in that phase where we need to make sure that they're staying there, staying
emissions
focused.
by escalating
now, look,
emissions.
coming back
That's
to the
right,
climate change
folks.
issue, there's no doubt this thing roared onto the scene faster and stronger than anything we've seen. Senator Vance has said that there's a climate problem in the past. Donald Trump called it a hoax and then joked that these things would make more beachfront property to be able to invest in. What we've seen out of the Harris administration now, the Biden-Harris administration, is we've seen this investment. We've seen massive investments, the biggest in global history that we've seen in the Inflation Reduction Act, has created jobs all across the country. 2,000 in Jeffersonville, Ohio, taking the EV technology that we invented and making it here. 200,000 jobs across the country.
He's got a cooking with this.
That's what we've been saying this whole time.
He's got a cooking.
North America sets in Minnesota. But my farmers know climate change is real.
Okay.
We've seen 500-year droughts, 500-year floods back to back. But what they're doing is adapting, and this has allowed them to tell me, look, I harvest corn, I harvest soybean, and I harvest wind. We are producing more natural gas and more oil at any time than we ever have. We're also producing more clean energy. So the solution for us is to continue to move forward, that climate change is real. Reducing our impact is absolutely critical, but this is not a false choice. You can do that at the same time you're creating the jobs that we're seeing all across the country. That's exactly what this administration has done.
He's cooking.
We are
He's
seeing
cooking.
us becoming an energy superpower for the future,
This
not
is
just
so
the
much
current.
more
And
low
that's what
energy than the
absolutely makes
presidential
sense.
Oh
and then
my
we
God,
start thinking about how do we mitigate these disasters.
He's cooking.
Thank you.
but
Senator, I want to give you an opportunity to respond there. The governor
rushing or
mentioned
dragging?
that President Trump has called climate
he needs
change
to
a
call him
hoax. Do you agree?
stupid or something.
Look, what the president has said is that if the Democrats, in particular Kamala Harris and her leadership, if they really believe that climate change is serious,
he called it a hoax.
what they would be doing is more manufacturing and more energy production in the United States.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
We would drill, frack, and burn here.
That doesn't make sense. If you believe climate change is real, you would do the climate change here. What are you talking about?
Trump's energy policies. Now, something
break my other elbow.
Our air
to touch upon because
pollute
when we
our
talk
river.
about clean energy, I think that's a slogan that often the Democrats will use here. And I'm talking, of course, about the Democratic leadership.
Donate to BCRF. The link's at the top of chat.
Hundreds of millions or even billions of dollars of American taxpayer money on solar panels that are made in China. Number one, you're going to make the economy dirtier. We should be making more of those solar panels here in the United States of America. Some of them are, Tim, but a lot of them are being made overseas in China, especially the components that go into those solar panels. So if you really want to make the environment cleaner,
we live in a globalized economy.
More energy production.
We cannot isolate ourselves from the global economy. And every single time they get up here and talk about this, their solution is just do it here.
Kamala Harris is
do everything here.
That's raised energy prices and also meant that we're doing
Senator,
worse by the climate.
Senator, your time is up. Governor,
JD
would you
Ruse,
like to
JD
respond?
Vance.
Look, we're producing more natural gas than we ever have. There's no moratorium on that. We're producing more oil. But the folks know, and like I said again, these are not liberal folks. These are not folks that are Green New Deal folks. These are farmers that have been drought one year, massive flooding the next year. They understand that it makes sense. Look, our number one export cannot be topsoil from erosion from these massive storms. We saw it in Minnesota this summer. And thinking about how do we respond to that, we're thinking ahead on this. And what Kamala Harris has been able to do in Minnesota, we're starting to weatherproof some of these things. The infrastructure law that was passed allows us to think about mitigation in the future. How do we make sure that we're protecting by burying our power lines? How do we make sure that we're protecting lakefronts and things that we're seeing more and more of? But to call it a hoax and to take the oil company executives to Mar-a-Lago, say, give me money for my campaign, then I'll let you do whatever you want. We can be smarter about that, and an all-above energy policy is exactly what she's doing, creating those jobs right here.
Governor, your time is up. The overwhelming consensus among scientists is that the Earth's climate is warming at an unprecedented rate.
That was good.
Well, thank you, Noah.
Outside that first
We're going
answer,
to turn now
roast
to
cooking.
immigration. The crisis at the U.S.-Mexico border consistently ranks as one of the top issues for American
We're getting
voters.
the heavy hitters out.
Senator Vance,
out the gate.
Your campaign is pledging to carry out the largest mass deportation
Tim Walz
plan
has to
in
cook
American
here. Tim Walz
history
has to cook
and to
here.
use the U.S. military to do so. Could you be more specific about exactly how this will work? For example, would you deport parents who have entered the U.S. illegally and separate them from any of their children who were born on U.S. soil. You have 2 minutes.
So first of all, Margaret, before we talk about deportations, we have to stop the bleeding. We have a historic immigration crisis because Kamala Harris started and said that she wanted to undo all of Donald Trump's border policies. 94 executive orders suspending deportations, decriminalizing illegal aliens.
Biden kept Title 42 forever.
Massively increasing the asylum fraud that exists in our system. That has opened the floodgates.
And Title 42 against Haitian immigrants.
Coming into the country.
In 2021, yes.
With opioid addiction and has gotten clean. I don't want people who are struggling with addiction to be deprived of their second chance because Kamala Harris let in fentanyl into our communities at record levels. So you've got to stop the bleeding. You've got to re-implement Donald Trump's border policies, build the wall, re-implement deportations.
The wall was never
and
built.
That gets me to your point, Margaret, about what do we actually do? So we've got 25 million illegal aliens who are here in the country.
2025?
I think the first thing we do is we start with the criminal migrants. About 1 million of those people have committed some form of crime in addition to crossing the border illegally. I think you start with deportations on
it's
those
also
folks.
notable
And then
how
I think you make it
they
harder
never
for
mention
illegal
how they're
aliens to
going to
undercut
find
the
these
wages
people.
of
Not
American
only
workers.
how are they going
A
to
lot of
deport
people will
20 to
go home
25
if they
million
can't
people,
work for
which is an
less than
already
minimum
exaggerated
wage in our
number.
own country.
How would they
And by the way,
find
that'd be
out
really
who is
good for
here
our workers
illegally
who just wanna
without
earn
engaging
a
in some
fair
fucking
wage for doing a
Red
good
Scare
day's
times
work.
a million
The
bullshit?
final point, Margaret, is you ask about family separation. Right now in this country, Margaret, we have 320,000 children that the Department of Homeland Security has effectively lost. Some of them have been sex trafficked. Some of them hopefully are at homes with their families. Some of them have been used as drug trafficking mules. The real family separation policy in this country is unfortunately Kamala Harris's wide open southern border.
That doesn't make any goddamn sense.
That's not how that works,
when she
brother.
came into office, she said she was going to do this. Real leadership would be saying, you know what, I screwed up. We're going to go back to Donald Trump's border policies. I wish that she would do that.
Donald Trump's border policies never left, brother.
Governor, do you care to respond to any of those specific allegations, including that the vice president is, quote, letting in fentanyl and using kids as drug mules, among other things, regarding children?
The drug mule is not true, but I will say about this, about the fentanyl, because this is a crisis of this, the opioid crisis. And the good news on this is the last 12 months saw the largest decrease in opioid deaths in our nation's history. 30% decrease in Ohio, but there's still more work to do.
He's mentioning Ohio.
Let's go back to this on immigration. Kamala Harris was the Attorney General of the largest state and a border state in California. She's the only person in this race who prosecuted transnational gangs for human trafficking.
Okay, we're hitting the ad points. Yeah, we're hitting the talking points.
Most of us want to solve this. And that is the United States Congress. That's the Border Patrol agents. That's the Chamber of Commerce. That's most
JD Vance
Americans
voted
out
no
here.
on the border bill.
That's why we had the fairest and the toughest
Say that JD
bill
Vance voted no on the border bill.
Immigration that this nation's seen. It was crafted by a conservative senator from Oklahoma, James Lankford. I know him. He's super conservative, but he's a man of principle, wants to get it done. Democrats and Republicans worked on this piece of legislation. The Border Patrol said, this is what we need in here. These are the experts. And the Chamber of Commerce and the Wall Street Journal said, pass this thing. Kamala Harris helped get there. 1,500 new border agents. Detection for drugs. DOJ money to speed up the adjudications on this, just what America wants. But as soon as I was getting ready to pass and actually tackle this, Donald Trump said no, told them to vote against it because it gives him a campaign issue.
JD Vance voted no.
What would Donald Trump talk about if we actually did some of these things? And they need to be done by the legislature. You can't just do this through the executive branch. So look, we have the options to do this. Donald Trump had 4 years. He had 4 years to do this. And he promised you, America, how easy it would be. I'll build you a big, beautiful wall, and Mexico will pay for it. Less than 2% of that wall got built, and Mexico didn't pay a dime. But here we are again, 9 years after he came down that escalator, dehumanizing people and telling them what he was going to do. As far as the deportation plan, at one point, Senator Vance said it was so unworkable to be laughable. So that's where we're at. Pass the bill, she'll sign it.
Governor, your time is up.
I mean, I hate the bill, but
I understand the focus.
Will you separate parents from their children
on Trump,
even if their
but I
kids
feel like
are U.S. citizens?
He needs to slip in there. JD Vance voted no. JD Vance has power right now.
Separations thanks to Kamala Harris's open border. I didn't accuse Kamala Harris of inviting drug mules. I said that she enabled the Mexican drug cartels to operate freely in this country, and we know that they use children as drug mules. And it is a disgrace.
What is he talking about?
And it has to stop. Look, I think what Tim said just doesn't pass the smell test. For 3 years, Kamala Harris went out bragging that she was going to undo Donald Trump's border policy.
No, she didn't.
Did exactly that.
She flatly did not.
She said, "Do not come.
Do not coming into our country." And now that she's running for president, or a few months before, she says that somehow she got religion and cared a lot about a piece of legislation. The only thing that she did when she became the vice president, when she became the appointed border czar, was to undo 94 Donald Trump executive actions that opened the border. This problem is leading to massive problems in the United States of America.
That'd be a
parents who can't afford
good
healthcare, schools that are overwhelmed. It's got to stop, and it will when Donald Trump is president
Senator,
again.
your time is up. Governor, what about our CBS News polling, which does show that a majority of Americans, more than 50%, support mass deportation?
More than 50%?
We fix this issue with a bill that is necessary. But the issue on this is what happens when you don't want to solve it. You demonize it. And we saw this. And Senator Vance, and it surprises me on this, talking about and saying, I will create stories to bring attention to this. That vilified a large number of people who were here legally in the community of Springfield.
Okay.
The Republican governor
put it on a bingo.
It's not true. Don't do it. There's consequences for this. There's consequences. We could come together. Senator Langford did it. We could come together and solve this if we didn't let Donald Trump continue to make it an issue. And the consequences in Springfield
why he voted no.
The governor had to send state law enforcement to escort kindergartners to school. I believe Senator Vance wants to solve this, but by standing with Donald Trump and not working together to find a solution, it becomes a talking point. And when it becomes a talking point like this, we dehumanize and villainize other human beings.
Tim,
Governor, your time is up. Senator, I'll give you 1 minute, but let me just ask you the question first. The governor has made the point, and I think as a sitting lawmaker, you know that Congress controls the purse strings and any funding.
As a sitting lawmaker.
So you have said repeatedly that Donald Trump would, through executive action, solve this. Do you disagree that Congress controls the purse strings and would need to support many of the changes that you would actually want to implement? You have 1 minute.
Look, Margaret, first of all, the gross majority of what we need to do with the southern border is just empowering law enforcement to do their job. I've been in the southern border more than our borders are. Kamala Harris has been. And it's actually heartbreaking because the Border Patrol agents, they just want to be empowered to do their job. Of course, additional resources would help. But most of this is about the president and the vice president empowering our law enforcement to say, if you try to come across the border illegally, you've got to stay in Mexico, you've got to go back through proper channels. Now, Governor Walz brought up the community of Springfield, and he's very worried about the things that I've said in Springfield. Look, in Springfield, Ohio, and in communities all across this country, you've got schools that are overwhelmed. You've got hospitals that are overwhelmed. You've got housing that is totally unaffordable.
The hospitals overwhelmed thing, I think, is coming from
immigrants to compete with Americans for
the Haitians are spreading like
people
AIDS
that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border. It is a disgrace to
the Haitians in Springfield actually revived the local economy.
Solve this problem, but I don't think that Kamala Harris does.
Senator, your time is up. Governor, you have 1 minute to respond.
Yeah, well, it is law enforcement that asked for the bill. They helped craft it. They're the ones that supported it. That's because they know we need to do this. Look, this issue of continuing to bring this up, of not dealing with it, of blaming migrants for everything. On housing, we could talk a little bit about Wall Street speculators buying up housing and making them less affordable, but it becomes a blame. Look, this bill also gives the money necessary to adjudicate. I agree. It should not take 7 years for an asylum claim to be done. This bill gets it done in 90 days. Then you start to make a difference in this, and you start to adhere to what we know, American principles. Look, I don't talk about my faith a lot, but Matthew 25:40 talks about the least amongst us you do unto me. I think that's true of most Americans.
He out-Christianed him.
Hell yeah, brother.
This bill does
He's a real Christian.
It's funded. It's supported by the people who do it. And it lets us keep our dignity about how we treat other people.
Thank you, Governor.
That's
and
what
just
Tim
to
Walz is on the
clarify
ticket
for
for.
our viewers,
Tim Walz getting the final word. I fuck with it. It's rigged in his favor.
Haitian migrants
I'm okay with
who
that.
have legal status, temporary protected status.
Well, Margaret, but
thank you, Senator. We have so much.
Yeah,
to get
fuck
to.
you, dumbass. Oh my God, come on.
You guys going to fact check. And since you're fact checking me, I think it's important to say what's actually going on.
He's getting
so there's
sassy
an
with the
application called
eyelashes.
the CBP One app, where you can go on as an illegal migrant, apply for asylum or apply for parole, and be granted legal status at the wave of a Kamala Harris open border wand.
That's not how that works.
Not a person coming in, applying for a green card and waiting for 10 years. That is the facilitation of illegal immigration, Margaret, by our own
Senator, for
well, if it's legal, it's not illegal.
Yeah, by definition, it's legal. Sorry.
Those laws have been on the books since 1990.
Thank you, gentlemen.
The
we want to
CBP
have
One app has not been on the books since 1990.
They cut his mic.
Gentlemen, the audience can't hear you because your mics are cut.
You sound like such a fucking loser.
Thank you for explaining the legal process. Nora.
Thank you, Margaret. The economy is a top concern for voters. Each of your campaigns has released an economic plan, so let's talk about the specifics.
Okay.
Governor Walz, Vice President Harris unveiled a plan that includes billions in tax credits for manufacturing, housing, and a renewed child tax credit. The Wharton School says your proposals will increase the nation's deficit by $1.2 trillion. How would you pay for that without ballooning the deficit? Governor, I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. And Kamala Harris and I do believe in the middle class because that's where we come from. We both grew up in that. We understand. So those of you out there listening tonight, you're hearing a lot of stuff back and forth, and it's good. It's healthy. That's what this is supposed to happen. You should be listening. How's this going to impact me? The bold forward plan that Kamala Harris put out there is talking about this housing issue. The one thing is there's 3 million new houses proposed under this plan with down payment assistance on the front end to get you in a house. A house is much more than just an asset to be traded somewhere. It's foundational to where you're at.
What about rent?
And then making sure that the things you buy every day, whether they be prescription drugs or other things, that there's fairness in that. Look, the $35 insulin is a good thing, but it costs $5 to make insulin. They were charging $800 before this law went into effect. As far as the housing goes, I've seen it in Minnesota. 12% more houses in Minneapolis, prices went down on rent 4%. It's working.
Let's go.
And then making sure tax cuts go to the middle class.
The only one who cares about
$6,000 child tax credit. We have one in Minnesota. Reduces childhood poverty by a third. We save money in the long run, and we do the right thing for families. And then getting businesses off the ground. The law as it stands right now is $5,000 tax credit for small business, increasing that to $50,000. Now, this is a philosophical difference between us. Donald Trump made a promise, and I'll give you this. He kept it. He took folks to Mar-a-Lago. He said, you're rich as hell, I'm going to give you a tax cut. He gave the tax cuts that predominantly went to the top class. What happened was an $8 trillion increase in the national debt, the largest ever. Now he's proposing a 20% consumption or sales tax on everything we bring in. Everyone agrees, including businesses, it would be destabilizing it. It would increase inflation and potentially lead to a recession.
Bro's killing it.
This is simple for you.
JD Vance looks like a fucking nerd right
Kamala
now.
Harris has said to do the things she wants to do.
I like
we'll
how
just ask the wealthiest to pay their fair share. When you do that, our system works best. More people are participating in it, and folks have the things that they need.
I like how he didn't
Senator,
engage with the idea that the deficit matters.
But similarly, the Wharton School has done an analysis of the Trump plan and says it would increase the nation's deficit by $5.8 trillion.
By more.
My question is the same for you. How do you pay for all that without ballooning the deficit? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, you're going to hear a lot from Tim Walz this evening, and you just heard it in the answer.
because he's on stage.
Kamala Harris proposes to do.
You're
some
debating
of it, I'll be honest with you, it even sounds pretty good. Here's what you won't hear, is that Kamala Harris has already done it.
Sick as
because
hell.
she's been the vice president for 3.5 years. She had the opportunity to enact all of these great policies, and what she's actually done instead is drive the cost of food higher by 25%, drive the cost of housing higher by about 60%, open the American southern border and make middle-class life unaffordable for a large number of Americans. If Kamala Harris has such great plans for how to address middle-class problems, then she ought to do them now. Not when
She's the
asking
vice
for a
president.
promotion in the
Vice
job the
presidents don't
American
do
people
anything.
gave her
She's the vice
3.5
president.
years
This is
ago.
where Tim
And the
Walz can
fact
come
that
in
she
and say,
isn't
JD Vance,
tells
why aren't
you a
you
lot about
doing
how
things
much you
now?
can trust her
You're a
actual
senator.
plans. Now,
Oh,
Donald
thank
Trump's
you,
economic
Daniel, in the
plan
chat.
is not just a plan, but it's also a record. A lot of those same economists attack Donald Trump's plans, and they have PhDs, but they don't have common sense and they don't have wisdom. Because Donald Trump's economic policies delivered the highest take-home pay in a generation in this country, 1.5% inflation, and to boot, peace and security all over the world. So when people say that Donald Trump's economic plan doesn't make sense,
Jared
I say
Kushner brought
look
peace to
at
the
the
Middle East.
record. He delivered rising take-home pay for American workers. Now, Tim admirably admits
real wages
that they
stagnated
want to undo the Trump tax cuts. But if you really want what's so different about Donald Trump's tax cuts, even from previous Republican tax cut plans, is that a lot of those resources went to giving more take-home pay to middle-class and working-class Americans. It was passed in 2017, and you saw an American economic boom unlike
and those tax cuts are about to expire next year.
Yeah. That is but not the rich ones. Proud to run on, and we're going to get back to that common sense
wisdom. What is it, a 3-martini
so
deduction or some shit like that?
You can afford to live the American dream again. I know a lot of you are struggling. I know a lot of you are worried about paying the bills. It's going to stop when Donald Trump brings back common sense to this country.
But get it out, dumbass. What has Kamala Harris done for the middle class?
Yeah, well, Kamala Harris's day one was Donald Trump's failure on COVID that led to the collapse of our economy. We were already before COVID in a manufacturing recession, but 10 million people out of work, largest percentage since the Great Depression. 9 million jobs closed on that. That was day one. Whether it was the Infrastructure Act or other things we moved. Now, you made a question about experts, said this. I've made a note of this. Economists can't be trusted. Science can't be trusted. National security folks can't be trusted. Look, if you're going to be president, you don't have all the answers. Donald Trump believes he does. My pro tip of the day is this. If you need heart surgery, listen to the people at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, not Donald Trump. And the same thing goes with this. Yes. And I ask you out there, teachers, nurses, truck drivers, or whatever, how is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years?
Oh, my
the last year as president. That's what's wrong with the system. There's a way around it, and he's bragged about that. We're just asking for fairness in it, and that's all you want.
You have a minute.
Governor, you say trust the experts. But those same experts for 40 years said that if we shipped our manufacturing base off to China, we'd get cheaper goods. They lied about that. They said if we shipped our industrial base off to other countries, to Mexico and elsewhere, it would make the middle class stronger. They were wrong about that. They were wrong about the idea that if we made America less self-reliant,
goods are undeniably cheaper.
I'm saying, like,
nation, that it would
there's issues with deindustrialization.
You've said something crazy when you have me defending capital flight.
Donald Trump had the wisdom and the courage to say to that bipartisan consensus, we're not doing it anymore. We're bringing
and it wasn't everybody that was saying deindustrialization
American
would be good,
energy. We're going to make more of our own stuff, and this isn't just an economic issue.
Did he just come out against Reaganomics?
Literally, 7, 4, and 2, and I love them very much, and I hope they're in bed right now. But look, so many of the drugs, the pharmaceuticals that we put in the bodies of our children are manufactured by nations that hate us. This has to stop, and we're not going to stop it by listening to experts. We're going to stop it by listening to common sense wisdom, which is what Donald Trump governed on.
Senator, your time is up. Governor Walz, can you address that? I mean, voters say
they trust Donald Trump
on the economy more. Why?
Well, if you're listening tonight and you want billionaires to get tax cuts, you heard what the numbers were. Look, I'm a union guy on this. I'm not a guy who wanted to ship things overseas, but I understand that, look, we produce soybeans and corn. We need to have fair trading partners. That's something that we believe in. I think the thing that most concerns me on this is Donald Trump was the guy who created the largest trade deficit in American history with China.
Real as hell.
So the rhetoric is good. Much of what the senator said right there, I'm in agreement with him on this. I watched it happen too. I watched it to my communities, and we talked about that. But we had people undercutting the right to collectively bargain. We had right to work states made it more difficult. We had companies that were willing to ship it over, and we saw people profit. Folks that are venture capital in some cases, putting money into companies that were overseas. We're in agreement that we bring those home. The issue is Donald Trump is talking about it. Kamala Harris has a record, 250,000 more manufacturing jobs just out of the IRA.
May I respond to that?
Yes.
Damn. So appreciate that. So if you notice, what Governor Walz just did is he said, first of all, Donald Trump has to listen to the experts. And then when he acknowledged that the experts screwed up, he said, well, Donald Trump didn't do nearly as good of a job as the statistics show that he did. So what debate is doing is, and I honestly, Tim, I think you got a tough job here because you've got to play whack-a-mole. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't deliver rising take-home pay, which of course he did. You've got to pretend that Donald Trump didn't
rode the coattails of Obama's economic
inflation, which of course he did. And then you simultaneously got to defend Kamala Harris's atrocious economic record, which
did not do any better than
groceries
Obama.
and housing unaffordable for American citizens. I was raised by a woman who would sometimes go into medical debt so that she could put food on the table in our household. I know what it's like to not be able to afford the things things that you need to afford. We can do so much better. To all of you watching, we can get back to an America that's affordable again. We just got to get back to common sense economic principles.
I hope we have a conversation on health care then.
Senator,
Oh,
Governor,
please.
Thank you. Margaret?
We have a lot to get to ahead, gentlemen, on many topics. But right now, I want to talk about personal qualifications.
JD Vance is a lot
the
better
vice
at
president
this
is
than,
often
than
the
Trump is.
last voice
yeah.
the president hears before making consequential decisions. We want to ask you about your leadership qualities. Governor Walz, you said you were in Hong Kong during the deadly Tiananmen Square protests in the spring of 1989. The Minnesota Public Radio and other media outlets are reporting that you actually didn't travel to Asia until August of that year. Can you explain that discrepancy?
Yeah, well, and to the folks out there who didn't get at the top of this, look, I grew up in small rural Nebraska, town of 400, town that you rode your bike with your buddies till the streetlights come on, and I'm proud of that service. I joined the National Guard at 17, worked on family farms, and then I used the GI Bill to become a teacher, passionate about it, a young teacher. My first year out, I got the opportunity in the summer of '89 to travel to China. 35 years ago, be able to do that. I came back home and then started a program to take young people there. We would take basketball teams, we would take baseball teams, we would take dancers, and we would go back and forth to China. The issue for that was to try and learn. Now, look, my community knows who I am. They saw where I was at. Look, I will be the first to tell you, I have poured my heart into my community. I've tried to do the best I can, but I've not been perfect. And I'm a knucklehead at times, but it's always been about that. Those same people elected me to Congress for 12 years. And in Congress, I was one of the most bipartisan people, working on things like farm bills that we got done, working on veterans benefits. And then the people of Minnesota were able to elect me to governor twice. So look, my commitment has been from the beginning to make sure that I'm there for the people, to make sure that I get this right. I will say more than anything, many times I will talk a lot. I will get caught up in the rhetoric. But being there, the impact it made, the difference it made in my life, I learned a lot about China. I hear the critiques of this. I would make the case that Donald Trump should have come on one of those trips with us. I guarantee you he wouldn't be praising Xi Jinping about COVID. And I guarantee you he wouldn't start a trade war that he ends up losing. So this is about trying to understand the world. Yeah. It's about trying to do the best you can for your community. And then it's putting yourself out there and letting your folks understand what it is. My commitment, whether it be through teaching, which I was good at, or whether it was being a good soldier or was being a good member of Congress, those are the things that I think are the values that people care about.
Governor, just to follow up on that, the question was, can you explain the discrepancy?
All I said on this was I got there that summer and misspoke on this. So I will just, that's what I've said.
He said I was the man in front of the tank.
So I was in
the tank.
China during the democracy protests went in. And from that, I learned a lot of what needed to be in governance.
I mean, sure. I guess he lied about it, but who gives a shit?
Senator Vance, in 2016, you called your running mate, Donald Trump, unfit for the nation's highest office.
That's not all he
said. He could be America's Hitler.
There you go.
I know you've been asked many times, and you've said you regret those comments and explained you then voted for Donald Trump in 2020. But the Washington Post reported new messages last week in which you also disparaged Trump's economic record while he was president, writing to someone in 2020, quote, Trump thoroughly failed to deliver his economic populism. You're now his running mate, and you've shifted many of your policy stances to align with his. If you become vice president, why should Americans trust that you will give Donald Trump the advice he needs to hear and not just the advice he wants to hear? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Margaret, because I've always been open. And sometimes, of course, I've disagreed with the president, but I've also been extremely open about the fact that I was wrong about Donald Trump. I was wrong, first of all, because I believed some of the media stories that turned out to be dishonest fabrications of his record. But most importantly, Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans, a secure southern border, a lot of things, frankly, that I didn't think he'd be able to deliver on. And yeah, when you screw up, when you misspeak, when you get did something wrong and you change your mind, you ought to be honest with the American people about it. It's one of the reasons, Margaret, why I've done so many interviews is because I think it's important to actually explain to the American people where I come down on the issues and what changed. Now, you pointed out to messages from 2020. Margaret, I've been extremely consistent that I think there were a lot of things that we could have done better in the Trump administration the first round if Congress was doing its job. I strongly believe that I've been a United States senator.
On his economic
Congress is not just a high-class debating society. It's not just a forum for senators and congressmen to whine about problems.
You don't just have casual disagreements with someone you call America's Hitler.
On tariffs, for example, where I think that we could have done so much more if the Republican Congress and the Democrats in Congress had been a little bit better about how they govern the country. They were so obsessed with impeaching Donald Trump, they couldn't actually govern. And I want to talk about this tariff issue in particular, Margaret, because Tim just accused this of being a national sales tax.
Yes.
Look, the one thing,
objectively,
you're probably surprised to hear me praising Joe Biden, but the one thing that Joe Biden did is he continued some of the Trump tariffs that protected American manufacturing jobs. And it's the one issue, the most pro-worker part of the Biden administration, it's the one issue where Kamala Harris has run away from Joe Biden's record.
The most
Think about this. If you're trying to employ slave laborers in China at $3 a day, you're going to do that and undercut the wages of American workers unless
nobody says they want to employ slaves in China. What are you talking about?
Markets unless you're paying middle-class Americans
tariffs
a fair wage.
Don't stop child
Senator,
labor.
Your time is up. Nora?
Thank you. Now to the issue of reproductive rights. Governor Walz, after Roe versus Wade was overturned, you signed a bill into law that made Minnesota one of the least restrictive states in the nation when it comes to abortion.
Post-birth abortion?
Former President Trump said in the last debate that you believe abortion, quote, in the ninth month
that should have been on the bingo
is absolutely fine.
Ooh, Veronica gave you
yes
the
or no?
$4.99.
Is that what
Could you guys
support?
please talk
I'll give you 2 minutes.
That's not what the bill says, but look, this issue is what's on everyone's mind.
Are we not seeing
Donald Trump
the live
put
chat?
this all into motion. He brags about how great it was that he put the judges in and overturned Roe versus
That's
Wade.
actually
52
crazy.
years of personal autonomy. And then he tells us, we send it to the states. It's a beautiful thing. Amanda Zaworski would disagree with you on it's a beautiful thing.
Abortion,
a young bride in Texas waiting for their child at 18 weeks. She has a complication, a tear in the membrane. She needs to go in. The medical care at that point needs to be decided by the doctor. And that would have been an abortion. But in Texas, that would have put them in legal jeopardy. She went home, got sepsis, nearly dies, and now she may have difficulty having children.
There's nothing better you can do here than just bring up
Hadley Duvall,
anecdotes.
a 12-year-old child raped and impregnated by her stepfather. Those are horrific. Now, when God asked about that, Senator Vance said 2 wrongs don't make a right. There is no right in this. So in Minnesota, what we did was restore Roe versus Wade. We made sure that we put women in charge of their health care. But look, this is not where, if you don't know Amanda or a Hadley, you soon will. Their Project 2025 is going to have a registry of pregnancies. It's going to make it more difficult, if not impossible, to get contraception and limit access, if not eliminate access to infertility treatments. For so many of you out there listening, me included, infertility treatments are why I have a child. That's nobody else's business, but those things are being proposed. And the catch-all on this is, well, the states will decide what's right for Texas might not be right for Washington. That's not how this works. This is basic human right. We have seen
fuck federalism.
Maternal mortality skyrocket in Texas,
saying the right
outpacing
things,
many other countries in the world.
I think it's just low energy all around.
In Minnesota, we are ranked first in healthcare for a reason. We trust women. We trust doctors.
Senator, do you want to respond to the governor's claim? Will you create a federal pregnancy monitoring agency?
No, Nora, certainly we won't. And I want to talk about this issue because I know a lot of Americans care about it, and I know a lot of Americans don't agree with everything that I've ever said on this topic. And, you know, I grew up in a working-class family in a neighborhood where I knew a lot of young women who had unplanned pregnancies and decided to terminate those pregnancies because they feel like they didn't have any other options. And, you know, one of them is actually very dear to me. And I know she's watching tonight, and I love you. And she told me something a couple years ago that she felt like if she hadn't had that abortion, that it would have destroyed her life because she was in an abusive relationship. And I think that what I take from that as a Republican who proudly wants to protect innocent life in this country, who proudly wants to protect the vulnerable,
unless you're an immigrant,
is that my party, we've got to do so much better of a job at earning the American people's trust back on this issue where they frankly just don't trust us. And I think that's one of the things that Donald Trump and I are endeavoring to do.
That just makes him look bad.
The Republican Party to be pro-family in the fullest sense of the word. I want us to support fertility treatments.
My friend told me that if my policies passed, her life would have been destroyed.
I want it to make it easier for young families to afford a home so they can afford a place to raise that family. And I think there's so much that we can do.
This is good, but I don't believe it coming from him.
Front, just to give women
this is
more
what we
options.
say. You would reduce the amount of abortions
Donald
that
Trump has been very clear that on the abortion policy specifically, that we have a big country and it's diverse. And California has a different viewpoint on this than Georgia. Georgia has a different viewpoint from Arizona. And the proper way to handle this, as messy as democracy sometimes is to let voters make these decisions. Let the individual states
make their
in a
state like Texas.
I was going to say, you could have more democracy if every voter could make a decision for themselves. How about that one? How about we do super federalism when it comes to this idea? Instead of letting the states decide, we could let a woman and her doctor decide.
Made the accusation that wasn't true about Minnesota. Well, let me tell you about this idea that there's diverse states. There's a young woman named Amber Thurman. She happened to be in Georgia, a restrictive state.
The pro-lifers that got mad at Trump for the Florida thing are not going to like that from JD Vance.
To try and get her care. Amber Thurman died in that journey back and forth. The fact of the matter is, how can we as a nation say that your life and your rights, as basic as the right to control your own body, is determined on geography? There's a very real chance had Amber Thurman lived in Minnesota, she would be alive today. That's why the restoration of Roe versus Wade. When you listen to Vice President Harris talk about this subject and you hear me talk about it, you hear us talking exactly the same. Donald Trump is trying to figure out how to get the political right of this. I agree with a lot of what Senator Vance said about what's happening. His running mate, though, does not, and that's the problem.
Governor, your time is up. Senator, let me ask you about that.
Dog walking him. I can't even lie.
Referring to a national ban. In the past, you have supported a federal ban on abortion after 15 weeks. In fact, you said if someone can't support legislation like that, quote, you are making the United States the most barbaric pro-abortion regime anywhere in the entire world. My question is, why have you changed your position?
Well, Nora, first of all, I never supported a national ban. I did when I was running for Senate in 2022 talk about setting some minimum national standard. For example, we have a partial birth abortion ban in place in this country at the federal level. I don't think anybody's trying to get rid of that, or at least I hope not, though I know that Democrats have taken a very radical pro-abortion stance. But Nora, one of the things that changed is in the state of Ohio, we had a referendum in 2023, and the people of Ohio voted overwhelmingly, by the way, against my position. And I think that what I learned from that, Nora, is that we've got to do a better job at winning back people's trust. So many young women would love to have families. So many young women also see an unplanned pregnancy as something that's going to destroy their livelihood,
abortion is a part of family planning,
destroy their relationship.
That's why you go to Planned Parenthood.
To earn people's trust back, and that's why Donald Trump and I are committed to pursuing
people's trust back by taking their rights away,
making childcare more accessible, making fertility treatments more accessible, because we've got to do a better job at that, and that's what real leadership is.
Keep in mind, underscoring all of the things that he's saying that are correct. We need to make family planning easier. He still wants to get rid of abortion. Underscoring all of that is the idea that you should not be able to get an abortion. That does
women having miscarriages,
even if family planning was the easiest fucking thing to do in this world, that's still not going to account for these edge cases where women are dying because their doctors won't perform an abortion, because the treatment for what's going on, the life of the mother, and rape.
We understand that too. We know
no matter how
that the
easy it
options
is
need to be available, and we make that true.
You can't reconcile
make it. We're a top 3 state for the best place to raise children. But these two things, to try and say that we're pro-children, but we don't like this, or you guys are pro-abortion, that's not the case at all.
Don't forget to donate right up at the top.
For women to make their choices, and we're going, and Kamala Harris is making the case.
And Jen, here, it's healthcare. It's medically necessary at times.
A $6,000 child tax credit, but we're not going to base that on the backs of making someone like Amber Thurman drive 600 miles to try and get health care.
Senator?
May I respond to that? First of all, Governor, I agree with you. Amber Thurman should still be alive, and there are a lot of people who should still be alive, and I certainly wish that she was. And maybe you're free to disagree with me on this and explain this to me, but as I read the Minnesota law that you signed into law, the statute that you signed into law, it says that a doctor who presides over an abortion where the baby survives, the doctor is under no obligation to provide life-saving care to a baby who survives a botched late-term abortion.
A doctor will provide life-saving care.
Fundamentally barbaric. And that's why I use that word, Nora, is because some of what we've seen, do you want to force Catholic hospitals to perform abortions against their will?
Yes.
Because Kamala Harris has supported suing Catholic nuns to violate their freedom of conscience. We can be a big and diverse country where we respect people's freedom of conscience and make the country more pro-baby and pro-family. But please.
Yes, Governor, please respond.
Look, this is one where there's always something there. This is a very simple proposition. These are women's decisions to make about their healthcare decisions, and the physicians who know best when they need to do this. Trying to distort the way a law is written to try and make a point, that's not it at all.
What was I wrong about, Governor? Please tell me, what was I wrong about?
That is not the way the law is written. Look, I've given
But how?
I've given this advice on a lot of things that getting
Walz
involved, that's been misread, and it was fact-checked at the last debate. But the point on this is there's a continuation of these guys to try and tell women where to get involved. I use this line on this, just mind your own business. On this. Things worked best when Roe versus Wade was in place. When we do a restoration of Roe, that works best. That doesn't preclude us from increasing funding for children. It doesn't increase us from making sure that once that child's born, like in Minnesota, they get meals. They get early childhood education. They get health care. So the hiding behind we're going to do all these other things when you're not proposing them in your budget. Kamala Harris is proposing them. She's proposing all those things to make life easier for families.
I asked a specific question, Governor. You gave me a slogan as a response.
It's not the case. It's not true. That's not what the law says. So they fact-checked it with President Trump.
Gentlemen, there's a lot to discuss. We have to move
on. He's lying. He just smiled at the camera.
If only there was live fact-checking.
Debate in just a moment.
Oh, ad break?
Bro hit us with the cheekiest smile of all time. I'm so sick. All right, let's cut back over.
Yeah, as Rose Garden, I don't care what you believe. If you're in healthcare, you have a duty to provide healthcare. Yeah. Absolutely. If you,
I'm gonna pee.
If you are consciously against the idea of having to perform an abortion, don't go into OB.
Yup.
Don't be an OBGYN. Like, that's it. I don't care what the administration of Catholic hospitals has to say about this. They're not the people that are providing healthcare. That's it. Like, it's bigger than that. My. What a... Why is this tripping out for the ad? Either way, doesn't matter. Don't want to see him anyway. I feel like I said a little bit ago, Tim Walz is kind of killing it with everything he's saying, except for that opening statement. Didn't really mesh with that one too well. But he's really saying the right things. He's doing everything right in terms of like debate. But this is just like low energy. And again, it's the VP debate, so who cares? You know what I'm saying? Oh my goodness. I was busy. Was it good? I would say it's been good. Doctors have an oath to provide care precisely. No, and even if that shitty Minnesota thing was on the books, like JD Vance is saying, I don't know if it's true or not, so I won't come out here and say, just make a normative statement that he's lying. No doctor is gonna let a fucking baby sit there. Like, what an absurd picture to try and paint. But people will believe it. Maybe they use ChatGPT to prep speeches. I could swear when she was a judge, Kamala ruled in favor of Catholic hospitals being allowed to deny abortions on religious grounds. That's wild. When she was a judge. She wasn't a judge, she was DA. DA in San Francisco, liberal San Francisco poop map. Real ones know.
Maybe she advocated for a nun's right to choose to not provide health care.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I feel like Tim's doing pretty good so far. He's very clearly inexperienced at this. Like, he hasn't really been tested on the national stage. He's only been involved for like the last 2 weeks.
He does look like he's tweaking. I gotta pee while we're at it.
But I mean,
LGBTQIA,
that is what it is. You know what I mean?
OBGYN,
he's doing good enough.
thank you very
he's
much.
Doing good enough. Make sure to donate to PCRF. Link is at the top of the comments. It's the pinned comment. Donate.
Yeah,
we are at, let's see, we're at $1,480 right now.
Guys, we got a goal to get to.
We're about $1,000 away from the goal of
mention.
$2,500. So make sure you donate to PCRF if you have not already, or if you have already, do it again. Name will pop up
It'd be pretty
here.
cool and really fun, I think. All right, I gotta use the bathroom. Guys, go pee. I will.
Here. All right, folks. We're in the last half hour or so of this. Still got lots to get to. I don't think we got a bingo. Tim's phoning it in tonight, and it makes me sad. I don't know if it's his fault, and instead it's just the fake job Democratic debate prep team. I don't know. I think he's just untested at this kind of thing. And JD Vance is a Yale guy who's been doing this kind of debate, who knows how to sort of walk around the question and never get to the point and sort of remain calm as he does it. It's just, I think it's just a mismatch. You know what I mean? JD Vance is the Ivy League guy who specializes in talking about this kind of stuff in a way that protects him from any real critique. I think Tim Walz is doing what he can. But if you're really worried about Tim Walz's performance here, just know that VP debates literally never make a difference. Unless maybe they go really wrong, but that's not going to happen. So, yeah, Pete Buttigieg played JD Vance in their debate prep, which feels so right for some reason. Feels just undeniably correct.
Say what? What about debate prep?
Pete Buttigieg played JD Vance in his debate prep, which just feels very right.
That's crazy. I was going to say something about the debate prep. I feel like Tim Walz's debate prep has actually been like phenomenal. I feel like they really read JD like a book when it comes to the things that he's been retorting. But like Jeremy said, JD Vance, he's a Yale law guy. Like, he's a lawyer. He's literally trained to walk around the question.
I think Walz is doing fine. Vance is more experienced. Yeah,
Ivy
JD Vance
League's
is far more
Ivy
experienced.
League's trained to gaslight and lie. Precisely.
The Demon Factory.
The Demon Factory. Boring white guy.
Welcome back to the CBS News Vice Presidential Debate. We want to turn now to America's gun violence epidemic. The leading cause of death for children and teens in America
that was the
is
term.
by firearms. Senator Vance, you oppose most gun legislation that Democrats claim would curb gun violence. You oppose red flag gun laws and legislation to ban
Opposing
certain
red flag
semi-automatic
laws is
rifles,
crazy.
including AR-15s. So let me ask you, earlier this year, for the first time, the parents of a school shooter were convicted of involuntary manslaughter and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Do you think holding parents responsible could curb mass shootings? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Yeah, well, Nora, on that particular case, I don't know the full details, but I certainly trust local law enforcement and local authorities to make those decisions. I think in some cases the answer is going to be yes, and in some cases the answer is going to be no. And the details really matter here, of course. For example, if a kid steals a gun, that's going to be different than if a parent hands over a gun knowing that their kid is potentially dangerous.
$100 from Anonymous.
Look, I want to just sort of speak as a father of 3 beautiful little kids, and our oldest is now in 2nd grade. And
250
parents,
from Chip and Veronica, AKV. Thank you so much.
And such joy and such pride at their little faces on the first day of school. And we know, unfortunately, that a lot of kids are going to experience this terrible epidemic of gun violence. And of course, our hearts go out to the families that are affected by this.
We know a lot of you guys are going to have to deal with this.
Sorry, deal with it.
Ross and I actually probably agree that we need to do better on this. The question is just, how do we actually do it? Now, here's something that really bothers me and worries me about this epidemic of violence. The gross majority, close to 90% in some of the statistics I've seen, of the gun violence in this country is committed with illegally obtained firearms. And while we're on that topic, we know that thanks to Kamala Harris's open border,
he's talking about gun violence in general,
in the number
not just
of illegal guns run by the Mexican drug cartels.
The guns come from us first,
the amount of illegal
and then
guns
they
in our
go to the
country is higher
cartels.
today than it was 3.5 years ago.
A lot of people like to point to like the Chicago gun violence that goes on. A lot of those guns that are illegally obtained in Chicago are just bought outside of Illinois.
Red states.
That's it. They're just bought in red states.
Indiana.
And they're illegally obtained because they weren't bought with like a license. You know what I mean?
In our schools, we have to make the doors lock better. We have to make the doors stronger. We've got to make the windows stronger.
Doors locked better isn't going to stop you from getting shot in the hallway. Doors, windows harder isn't going to stop you from getting shot in the hallway.
Out of the hands of bad guys, like, it just doesn't fit with recent experience. So we've got to make our schools safer, and I think we've got to have some common sense, bipartisan solutions for how to do that.
Governor, you have 2 minutes.
Well, I think all the parents watching tonight, this is your biggest nightmare. Look, I got a 17-year-old, and he witnessed a shooting at a community center playing volleyball. Those things don't leave you. As a member of Congress, I sat in my office surrounded by dozens of the Sandy Hook parents, and they were looking at my 7-year-old picture on the wall. Their 7-year-old were dead, and they were asking us to do something. And look, I'm a hunter. I own firearms.
There we go.
The vice president is.
Yes.
We understand that the Second Amendment is there, but our first responsibility is to our kids to figure this out. In Minnesota, we've enacted enhanced red flag laws, enhanced background checks, and we can start to get data. But here's the problem. If we really want to solve this, we've got folks that won't allow research to be even done on gun violence. And this idea,
yeah, Emma, who's going to pay for that? Schools are so strapped for cash. How are they going to pay for these security upgrades?
Conversation. I 100% believe that Senator Vance hates it when these kids, it's abhorrent and it breaks your heart. I agree with that. But that's not far enough when we know there are things that worked. I've spent time in Finland and seen some Finnish schools. They don't have this happen, even though they have a high gun ownership rate in the country. There are reasonable things that we can do to make a difference. It's not infringing on your Second Amendment. And the idea to have some of these weapons out there, it just doesn't make any sense. Kamala Harris, as an attorney general, worked on this issue. She knows that it's there. No one's trying to scaremonger and say we're taking your guns, but I ask all of you out there, do you want your schools hardened to look like a fort? Is that what we have to go? When we know there's countries around the world that their children aren't practicing these types of drills. They're being kids. We owe it to them to get a fix. These are things that shouldn't be that difficult. You can still keep your firearms, and we can make a difference. We have to. If you're listening tonight,
needs to get to the
this
point quicker.
breaks your
I think
heart.
so too. Yeah,
Senator.
I guess
Tim, first of all, I didn't know that your
rambles.
17-year-old witnessed a shooting, and I'm sorry about that. And I hope that he's doing okay. Christ have mercy. It is awful, and I appreciate what Tim said actually about Finland, because I do think it illustrates some of the frankly weird differences between our own country's gun violence problem and Finland. Is okay. First of all, we have way higher rates of mental health abuse or mental health substance abuse.
They have socialized health care.
Way higher rates of depression, way higher rates of anxiety. We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country that I really do think that we need to get to the root causes of, because I don't think it's the whole reason why we have such a bad gun violence problem.
It's a lot harder
it's a big piece
to
of it.
solve like
another
an
driver
epidemic
of the gun violence
mental health
epidemic,
issues
especially that
than it is
affecting
to
our
just
kids. It doesn't
not
earn
let
as many
people buy
headlines,
guns like
but
that.
is the terrible gun violence problem in a lot of our big cities. And this is why we have to empower law enforcement to arrest the bad guys, put them away, and take gun offenders off the streets. I think there's a whole host of things that we can do here, but I do think at our schools we've got to talk about more security.
I don't think no one is not. I don't think anyone is not trying to take gun offenders off the streets.
I'm pro gun offender.
Did you change your position? Why?
Yeah, I sat in that office with those San Diego parents. I've become friends with school shooters. I've seen it.
What?
Look, the NRA, I was an NRA guy for a long time. They used to teach
don't
gun
say
safety.
that,
brother. No.
My shotgun was in my car so I could pheasant hunt after football practice. That's not where we live today. And several things I want to mention on this is
Biden moment.
Cities and where it's at. The number one where the most firearm deaths happen in Minnesota are rural suicides. And we have an epidemic of children getting guns and shooting themselves. And so we have and we should look at all of the issues.
Is that like a huge driver of like deaths for young kids?
But I want to be very careful. This idea of stigmatizing mental health, just because you have a mental health issue doesn't mean you're violent. And I think what we end up doing is we start looking for a scapegoat. Sometimes it just is the guns. It's just the guns, and there are things that you can do about it. But I do think that this is a healthy conversation.
I think he needs to lead with the point and then start rambling to further explain the point rather than building up to it.
That's our priority.
Gentlemen, thank you. Margaret?
Thank you, Nora.
That's getting
Let's turn now to the top
so crazy by us.
inflation.
I'm doing it. I'm going to clip it.
Of housing and rent.
That shit's going to be an ad on the
There's
next
a
Lions
shortage
game.
of more than 4 million homes in the United States, and that contributes to the high housing prices. Governor Walz, the Harris campaign promises a $25,000 down payment assistance for first-time home buyers and a $10,000 tax credit. They also promise to build 3 million new homes.
What about renters that have been renting for like a year?
Where are you building these homes, and won't handing out that kind of money just drive up prices higher?
No, it's not handing out. We have, first, let me say this issue of housing, and I think those of you listening on this, the problem we've had is that we've got a lot of folks that see housing as another commodity. It can be bought up, it can be shifted, it can be moved around.
Tim says something socialist?
Those are not folks living in those houses. Those of you listening tonight, that house is a big deal. I bought and owned one house in my life. My mom still lives in the house where I was. And when I think of a house, I'm thinking of Christmas services after midnight mass where you go with your family. We need to make it more affordable. And one of the things, as I said, this program that the vice president is pushing forward and bringing a new way of approaching this is something we're doing in Minnesota from that lead. We in the state invested in making sure our housing was the biggest investment that we'd ever made in housing. It starts to make it easier. We cut some of the red tape. Local folks, look, we can't do it at the federal level, but local folks make it easier to build those homes. And then that down payment assistance. I can tell all of you out there, certainly for me, using the GI Bill was one thing, but a veteran's home loan, the big thing about a veteran's home loan is you don't have to pay the down payment. Those are things that make it there. Now, look, you're going to pay it back, and you're going to pay your mortgage. Those are things that we know in the long run, the appreciated value, the generational wealth that's created from it. And I will give Minneapolis an example. Minneapolis is the one city where we've seen the lowest inflation rates. We've seen a 12% increase in stock because we put some of these things in.
Trump politics.
And we're implementing
This is like a 2008,
to make sure we get some of that down payment assistance. We get it back from people because here's what we know. People with stable housing end up with stable jobs. People with stable housing have their kids able to get to school. All of those things in the long run end up saving our money. And that's the thing that I think we should be able to find some common ground in, but we can't blame immigrants for the only reason. That's not the case that's happening in many cities. The fact of the matter is that we don't have enough naturally affordable housing, but we can make sure that the government's there to help kickstart it, create that base.
Governor, your time is up. Senator Vance, as far as your campaign's position, the promise is to seize federal lands to build homes, remove regulation, provide tax breaks, and cut back on immigration, which you say pushes up prices. Where are you going to build all the new homes you're promising, and what part of any of this plan will provide immediate relief? You have 2 minutes.
Well, first of all, Tim just said something that I agree with. We don't want to blame immigrants for higher housing prices, but we do want to blame Kamala Harris for letting in millions of illegal aliens into this country.
That is blaming immigrants.
We don't want to.
25 million illegal aliens competing with Americans for scarce homes is one of the most significant drivers of home prices in the country. It's why we have massive increases in
natural-born U.S. citizens cannot even buy homes. I highly doubt illegal immigrants are coming over here with cash to put down $20,000, $50,000 down payments. Like, that is not something that's happening. Illegal immigrants are not competing for homes in the suburbs, brother.
Kamala Harris is not running as a newcomer to politics. She is the sitting vice president. If she wants to enact all of these policies to make housing more affordable, I invite her to use the office that the American people already gave her, not sit around and campaign and do nothing
cast a tie-breaking vote.
Americans find the American dream of homeownership completely unaffordable. Now, you asked, Margaret, what would immediately change the equation for American citizens? If you lower energy prices, as Donald Trump says, drill, baby, drill, one of the biggest drivers of housing costs aside from illegal immigration is, think about it. If a truck driver's paying 40% more for diesel, then the lumber he's delivering to the job site to build the house is also going to become a lot more expensive. If we open up American energy, you will get immediate pricing relief for American citizens, not, by the way, just in housing, but in a whole host of other economic goods too.
Senator Vance, you still have 23 seconds there. Do you want to answer?
Can I have it?
Where? Yeah. Governor, we will get to you in a moment. But Senator, where are you going to seize the federal lands? Can you clarify?
Well, what Donald Trump has said is we have a lot of federal lands that aren't being used for anything. They're not being used for national parks.
We're drilling more than we ever have.
And they could
more than we were under
places
Trump.
Where we build a lot of housing. And I do think that we should be opening up building in this country. We have a lot of land that could be
every
used. We have a
fucking
lot
site
of
at one
Americans
time
that need
anyway,
homes.
lest
We should
there be a
kicking
supply
out
shock.
illegal immigrants who are competing for those homes, and we should be building more homes for the American citizens who deserve to be here.
Senator, your time is up.
Deserve to
Governor,
be here.
I do want to let you respond to the allegation that the
immigrants
vice
are
president
not
is
competing for houses.
Well, of course, that's not
migrants,
true. And again,
that
you
it's
have the
affecting
facts. I
housing
guess we
prices.
agreed not to fact check. I'll check it. That, look, crossings are down compared to when Donald Trump left office.
Damn.
But it's, again, blaming and not trying to find the solution. I was going to ask, though, on this question, are we going to drill and build houses in the same federal land? And I think when people hear federal lands, these are really important pieces of land. Now, Minnesota doesn't have a lot of federal lands.
See,
I know in the
type of
western
shit
part of
nobody
the
cares
country.
about.
No, literally.
There's not a lot of federal land.
It's a lot of
in and
minutia
around
that's, like,
Minneapolis, for example.
correct,
So the
but-
issue is
Yeah.
I don't understand the federal lands issue unless we see this, and I worry about this as someone who cares deeply about our national parks and our federal lands. Look, Minnesota, We protect these things. We've got about 20% of the world's fresh water. These lands protect. They're there for a reason. They belong to all of us. But again, this is when you view housing and you view these things
literally,
as commodities.
Lars, America
has
has
a chance to make money here. Let's take this federal land and let's sell it to people for that. I think there's better ways to do this. We've seen it in Minnesota. We're able to refurbish some of these houses. We're able to make some investments. That gets people
America's
in.
been producing the most oil out of any country, and Biden has attacked OPEC for colluding to bring prices up. Biden is doing what he's talking about.
Which economists are saying that it is immigrants that's adding to the cost?
Governor, your time is up. But Senator, on that point, I'd like for you to clarify. There are many contributing factors to high housing costs. What evidence do you have that migrants are part of this problem?
Yes.
Well, there's a Federal Reserve study that we're happy to share after the debate. We'll put it up on social media, actually, that really drills down on the connection between increased levels of migration, especially illegal immigration, and higher housing prices.
Build
now,
more
of
houses.
course, Margaret, that's not the
Federally
entire
subsidized
driver
I
of
would
higher
love to
housing
see if they're
prices. It's
actually
also
driving housing
the
prices
regulatory
up, 'cause that
regime
shit
of Kamala Harris.
just don't make sense.
We are a country of builders. We're a country of doers. We're a country
How are
of explorers.
illegal immigrants
But we
coming over
increasingly
here and
have
securing a
federal
mortgage
administration that makes it
Do you know how
harder
many
to
immigrants are in the
develop our
construction
resources,
sector?
makes it harder
Yeah.
to build
Come on,
things,
dog.
and wants to
Like-
throw people in jail for not doing everything exactly as Kamala Harris says they have to do.
What?
And what that means is that you have a lot of people who would love to build homes who aren't able to build homes. I actually agree with Tim Walz. We should get out of this idea of housing as a commodity.
know.
But the thing that has most turned housing into a commodity is giving it away to millions upon millions of people who have no legal right to be here.
Wait, that actually is decommodification.
Governor.
You can very quickly reply.
I'm sorry. I get this as a governor, and I don't necessarily disagree with that. That in some cases, many of those are local, many of them are state. I don't know which ones are federal, but I think whenever we talk regulations, people think they can get rid of them. I think you want to be able to get out of your house in a fire. I think you want to make sure that it's fireproof and those types of things. So which are the regulations? Because the vice president's not responsible for those. Congress writes those.
Governor, thank you. Gentlemen.
He's in Congress.
We have a lot to get to. You're passionate about the housing crisis, I can tell. But Nora?
Thank you. One of the top problems facing Americans is the high cost of health care. Senator Vance, at the last presidential debate, former President Trump was asked about replacing the Affordable Care Act. In response, he said, "I have concepts of a plan." Since then, Senator, you've talked about changing how chronically ill Americans get health insurance. Can you explain how that would work? And can you guarantee that Americans with pre-existing conditions won't pay more? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Well, of course, we're going to cover Americans with pre-existing conditions. In fact, a lot of my family members have gotten health care. I believe, members of my family actually got private health insurance, at least for the first time, switched off of Medicaid onto private insurance for the first time under Donald Trump's leadership. And I think
was it Donald Trump's leadership, or was it
concepts of a plan remark? Look, it's very simple common sense. I think as Tim Walz knows from 12 years in Congress, you're not going to propose a 900-page bill standing on a debate stage. It would bore everybody to tears, and it wouldn't actually mean anything because part of this is the give and take of bipartisan negotiation. Now, when Donald Trump was actually president, and again, he has a record to be proud of, prescription drugs fell in 2018 for the first time in a very long time. Under Kamala Harris's leadership,
and now Medicare can negotiate thanks to Joe Biden.
7%. Under Donald Trump's entire 4 years, they were up about 1.5%. He introduced pricing transparency. Think about healthcare. You go into a hospital, you try to buy something, and nobody knows what it actually costs. That price transparency will actually give American consumers a little bit more choice, and will also drive down costs. And we talked about, the reinsurance regulations is what I was talking about. Look, Donald Trump has said that if we allow states to experiment a little bit on how to cover both the chronically ill but the non-chronically ill, it's not just a plan. He actually implemented some of these regulations when he was president of the United States. And I think you can make a really good argument that it salvaged Obamacare, which was doing disastrously until Donald Trump came along.
I don't either. ACA shit gets really complicated, but I do know that Trump spent so much time just trying to gut it, just trying to take it away.
But when Obamacare was crushing under the weight of its own regulatory burden and healthcare costs, Donald Trump could have destroyed the program. Instead,
he did try. John McCain actually saved it
to ensure that Americans had access to affordable care.
Donald Trump tried so hard.
It's not perfect, of course.
He took it to the court, to the Supreme Court, didn't he?
But I think that Donald Trump has earned the right to put in place some better healthcare policies. He's earned it because he did it successfully the first time.
The right.
All right, here's where being an old guy gives you some history. I was there at the creation of the ACA. And the reason it was so important is I come from a major healthcare state, home of the Mayo Clinic, home to medical affordability and accessibility and quality of healthcare. And so what I know is under Kamala Harris, more people are covered than they have before. And those of you listening, this is critical to you. Now, Donald Trump all of a sudden wants to. Go back and remember this. He ran on the first thing he was going to do on day one was to repeal Obamacare. On day one, he tried to sign an executive order to repeal the ACA. He signed on to a lawsuit to repeal the ACA, but lost at the Supreme Court.
Yeah, there you go.
And he would have repealed the ACA had it not been for the courage of John McCain to save that bill. Now, fast forward, what that means to you is you lose your pre-existing conditions. If you're sitting at home and you got asthma, too bad. If you're a woman, probably not. Broke your foot during football, might kick you out. Your kids get kicked out when they're 26. Kamala Harris negotiated drug prices for the first time with Medicare. We have 10 drugs that will come online. The most common ones that will be there. But look, this issue,
I think so.
And when
I
Donald
think so
Trump
too. I
said,
feel like I remember that.
I've got a concept of a plan, it cracked me up as a fourth grade teacher because my kids would have never given me that. But what Senator Vance just explained might be worse than a concept.
Teacher Walz mentioned.
Because what he explained is pre-Obamacare. And I'll make this as simple as possible because I have done this for a long time. What they're saying is, if you're healthy, why should you be paying more? So what they're going to do is let insurance companies pick who they insure, because guess what happens? You pay your premium, it's not much. They figure they're not going to have to pay out to you. But those of you a little older, gray, got cancer, you're going to get kicked out of it. That's why the system didn't work. Kamala Harris will protect and enhance the ACA.
Pre-ACA was fucking crazy.
Governor, thank you. Senator, you have not yet explained how you would protect people with pre-existing conditions.
Call him stupid.
Laid out that plan.
Call him stupid.
Well, look, we currently have laws and regulations in place
The
right now
ACA.
to protect people with pre-existing
The
conditions.
ACA.
We want to keep those
Obamacare.
regulations in place, but we also want to make the health insurance marketplace function a little bit better.
The ACA marketplace?
What Governor Walz just said is actually not true. A lot of what happened, and the reason that Obamacare was crushing under its own weight, is that a lot of young and healthy people were leaving the exchanges. Donald Trump actually helped address that problem, and he did so in a way that preserved people's access to coverage who had pre-existing conditions. But again,
what is he? I don't know what he's talking
a lot
about.
of young and healthy
guys
people
do is they make a lot of
exchange.
claims about if Donald Trump becomes president, all of these terrible consequences are going to ensue. But in reality, Donald Trump was president. Inflation was low. Take-home pay was higher, and he saved the very program from a Democratic administration that was collapsing and would have collapsed absent his leadership.
Did he do?
John
He did
McCain
his job,
saved
which is
it.
govern in a bipartisan way and get results, not just complain about problems, but actually solve them.
Governor, did enrollment under the Affordable Care Act go up under the Trump administration?
It's higher now that we've seen it go up. Look, people are using it. The system works. And the question about this of young people or whatever, that's the individual mandate piece of this. And Republicans fought tooth and nail saying, well, Americans should be free to do this. Well, then
So
what
you
happens
think the
is
individual mandate's a good idea?
you shrink. I think the idea of making sure the risk pool is broad enough to cover everyone, that's the only way insurance works. When it doesn't, it collapses. You are asking pre-ACA where we get people out. Look,
Nobody
people
gives a
know
shit about this.
that they need to be on health care. People expect it
Nobody
to be
actually
there.
wants people to
and
debate
when
the
we
nuances
are
of the
able to make
ACA.
it, and we are making it this way, when we incentivize people to be in the market, when we help people who might not be able to afford it get there, and we make sure then when you get sick and old,
This would be so much
it's there
easier
for
if
you.
they were just
because I
calling
heard
for
people say,
national
well,
healthcare.
I don't want to buy into Medicare or whatever. Good luck buying health care once you get past 70. So look, the
Wouldn't
ACA
need to worry
works.
about the
We can
risk
continue
pool
to do
being
better.
large enough
Kamala
to
Harris
cover
did that.
everyone.
The
If
way she
everyone
made
was covered
everything
under
better
one plan.
was negotiating those 10 drugs on Medicare for the first time in American
Medicare
history.
negotiation. Let's go.
Margaret?
Can I address that?
I
Nope.
apologize.
No,
We're
shut
out
up.
of
Nope.
time.
Shut up,
Government
Ms.
Cut his mic
subject
off.
to discuss. Margaret?
Let's talk about families in America. There is a child care crisis in this country, and the United States is one of the very few developed countries in the world without a national paid leave program for new parents.
This is huge.
Governor Walz, you said that if
Maternity
Democrats win both the White House and Congress, this is a day one priority for you. How long should employers be required to pay
1
workers
year.
while they are home taking care of
10
their
years.
newborns?
10
You have
years.
2 minutes.
The life of the child.
Yeah, well, that's negotiable, and that's what Congress worked. But here's what the deal is. Americans sitting out there right now, you may work for a big company. Look, we're home in Minnesota to some of the largest Fortune 500 companies. Kamala Harris knows that in California. Those companies provide paid family and medical leave. One is, I think they're moral and they think it's a good thing, but it also keeps their employees healthy. We in Minnesota passed a paid family and medical leave. You have a child, and I had to go back to work 5 days after my kids were born. This allows you to stay home a certain amount of time. What we know is that gets the child off to a better start, the family works better, we stay in their employers, we get more consistency in that. So Kamala Harris has made it a priority. We implemented it in Minnesota and we see growth. That's how you become a pro-business state. But the negotiations on it, and here's the issue, those big companies are able to offer it. Those of you out there who don't have it, just imagine what happens if you get cancer or your child gets sick. We know what happens. You end up staying home. In some cases, that means no paycheck because you've got no protection on that. This is the case of an economy that Donald Trump has set for the wealthiest amongst us. He's willing to give those tax breaks to the wealthiest. He's willing to say, bust those unions up, do whatever. What we're saying is the economy works best when it works for all of us. And so a paid family medical leave program, and I will tell you, go to the families or go to the businesses and ask them. As far as childcare on this, you have to take it at both the supply and the demand side. You can't expect the most important people in our lives to take either our children or our parents to get paid the least amount of money. And we have to make it easier for folks to be able to get into that business and then to make sure that folks are able to pay for that. We were able to do it in Minnesota, and I'm still telling you this. We were listed as the best state. We're still in crisis on this. A federal program of paid family medical leave and help with this
would have worked well
against our families
Trump,
and make it
just
easier
because
to have
that's
the
what
children
kind
that you want.
just to draw contrast, that's what people kind of crave in opposition to Trump. But they're both doing the same damn thing. Everybody's been pointing out how they're just agreeing with each other.
Should employers
in
be
different
mandated
ways, you know?
to pay their employees while they are home taking care of their newborn?
Well, you see, they shouldn't.
Yeah, well, first of all, a number of my Republican colleagues and some Democrats, too, have worked on this issue. And I think there is a bipartisan solution here because a lot of us care about this issue. I mean, look, I speak from this very personally because I'm married to a beautiful woman who's an incredible mother to our 3 beautiful kids, but is also a very, very brilliant corporate litigator. And I'm so proud of her. But being a working mom, even for somebody with all of the advantages of my wife, is extraordinarily difficult. And it's not just difficult from a policy perspective. She actually had access to paid family leave because she worked for a bigger company. But the cultural pressure on young families and especially young women, I think makes it really hard for people to choose the family model they want. A lot of young women would like to go back to work immediately. Some would like to spend a little time home with the kids. Some would like to spend longer at home with the kids.
You don't have to take paternity leave.
We should have a family care model
it's not required.
that makes choice possible. And I think this is a
you don't have to go
difference between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris's
It's not
approach.
compulsory.
I mean, look, if you look at the federal programs that we have that support paid family leave right now, the Community Development Block Grant, and there's another block grant program that spends a lot of money from the federal government. These programs only go to one kind of child care model. Let's say you'd like your church maybe to help you out with child care. Maybe you live in a rural area or an urban area and you'd like to get together with families in your neighborhood to provide child care.
Genuinely, what is Trump talking about?
I think he pivoted to subsidies
of these
for
federal
child
monies.
care facilities.
We want to promote choice in how we deliver family care and how we promote child care because look,
so say let's fund the fucking church too if they can prove they're running a child care program.
7 or 8 weeks.
Churches already get tax breaks.
One of the biggest complaints I hear from young families is people who feel like they don't have options.
This is not about maternity
like they're
leave,
choosing between going to work or taking care for their kids.
You wouldn't have to worry about child care for like the first.
People feel like they have to choose between work and child care because they don't have paid leave.
Exactly. Do a heck of a lot better.
Senator, thank you.
You have compulsory, not compulsory paid leave,
Senator
but you have paid leave,
Vance,
and you can make the choice
about
to take
the
it.
American family. The Federal Reserve says parents will spend nearly as much on child care as they do on housing each month. So I want to get your thoughts on this. President Trump recently said, as much as child care is talked about as being expensive, it's relatively speaking not very expensive compared to the kinds of numbers we'll be taking in. Is President Trump committed to the $5,000 per child tax credit that you have described? You have 1 minute.
Well, what President Trump said, Margaret, I just want to defend my running mate here a little bit, is that we're going to be taking in a lot of money by penalizing companies for shipping jobs overseas and penalizing countries who employ slave laborers and then ship their products back into our country and undercut the wages of American workers. It's the heart of the Donald Trump economic plan. Cut taxes for American workers and American families. Cut taxes for businesses that are hiring and building companies in the United States of America, but penalize companies and countries that are shipping jobs overseas. That's the heart of the economic proposal. And I think what President Trump is saying is that
recover from that when prices necessarily increase by just massive subsidies that get rid of all the tariff revenue. We've seen this once before.
And workable for a lot of American families.
Can you clarify how that will solve the child care shortage?
Well, because as Tim said, a lot of the child care shortages, we just don't have enough resources going into the multiple people who could be providing family care options.
Tax cuts.
And we're going to have to, unfortunately, look, we're going to have to spend more money.
It'll trickle down eventually.
More people to want to provide child care options. The reason it's so expensive right now is because you've got way too few people providing this very essential service.
The corporate tax rate is so high right now. That's why.
Your ticket
well, like
also
Republicans
has some
won't fund
child care proposals. Do
Oh,
you
and
think Congress will agree to the $6,000 credit for newborns and $3,000 credit for children over the age of 6, as your campaign has promised?
Well, they better. We'll whip them into shape.
Well, if these members of Congress are listening to anybody, I can tell you, and this is the biggest issue. Everybody listening tonight knows. I mean, I'm sure they were shocked to hear it's not that expensive. And let's be clear, whether it's $5,000 or $6,000, that pays you about 3 or 4 months. Let's be clear of where we're at on this. It's because we got out of an imbalance on this. We thought we were going to get by not paying people. I don't think Senator Vance and I are that far apart. I'm not opposed to what he's talking about on options. We've done scholarship types of things. I think we need to be open to making the case. But the issue here is, the question you asked is, you're not going to pay for it with these tariffs.
On
That's
this,
just adding another $4,000 on the family and taking less.
Independents are going to fill that in with whatever policies they support, and they're going to go over to whoever they were already vibing with.
In school.
You're supposed to win people over.
And so I think the issue here is, those members of Congress, I can't believe they're not. When I go to businesses, sure, they'll talk about taxes sometime, but they will lead with childcare and they will lead with housing, because we know the problem is, especially in a state like Minnesota, we need more workers because our economy's growing, but we need the workforce.
Governor, thank you. We need to move on. Nora?
Let's talk about the state of democracy, the top issue for Americans after the economy and
Big D
inflation.
democracy?
After the 2020 election, President Trump's campaign and others filed 62 lawsuits contesting the results. Judges, including those appointed by President Trump and other Republican presidents, looked at the evidence and said there was no widespread fraud. The governors of every state in the nation, Republicans and Democrats, certified the 2020 election results and sent a legal slate of electors to Congress for January 6th. Senator Vance, you have said you would not have certified the last presidential election and would have asked the states to submit alternative electors. That has been called unconstitutional and illegal. Would you again seek to challenge this year's election results, even if every governor certifies the results? I'll give you 2 minutes.
Say no.
Well, Nora, first of all, I think that we're focused on the future. We need to figure out how to solve the inflation crisis caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
He's not even going to answer the question.
Make housing affordable, make groceries affordable, and that's what we're focused on. But I want to answer your question because you did ask it. Look, what President Trump has said is that there were problems in 2020, and my own belief is that we should fight about those issues, debate those issues peacefully in the public square.
Yeah,
and
that's
all
what
I've
happened.
Said, and
Very
that's all
peaceful
that Donald
debate.
Trump has said. Remember, he said that on January the 6th,
not all
the
you said. You said you wouldn't certify the election.
And on January the 20th, what happened? Joe Biden became the president.
Donald Trump said the race was stolen from him, that the votes were fraudulent, that the Democrats were cheating.
That come from the Harris-Biden administration.
Donald Trump
believe that we
still
actually do
says
have a threat to democracy in this country, but unfortunately,
Republicans ran in the 2022 primaries on the idea that the election was stolen.
It is the threat of censorship.
And Trump still says
it's Americans
censorship,
casting aside lifelong friendships because of disagreements over politics. It's big technology companies silencing their fellow citizens, and it's Kamala Harris saying that rather than debate and persuade her fellow Americans, she'd like to censor people who engage in misinformation. I think that is a much bigger threat to democracy than anything that we've seen in this country in the last 4 years, in the last 40 years. Now, I'm really proud, especially given that I was raised by two lifelong blue-collar blue-collar Democrats to have the endorsement of Bobby Kennedy Jr. and Tulsi Gabbard, lifelong leaders in the Democratic coalition. And of course, they don't agree with me and Donald Trump on every issue. We don't have to agree on every issue, but we're united behind a basic American First Amendment principle that we ought to debate our differences. We ought to argue about them. We ought to try to persuade our fellow Americans. Kamala Harris is engaged in censorship at an industrial scale. She did it during COVID. She's done it over a number of other issues, and
Kamala
that to
Harris
me is
doesn't
a
do
much
anything.
bigger threat to democracy
What are you talking
than
about?
what Donald Trump said when he said that protesters should peacefully protest on January the 6th.
Governor?
Well, I've enjoyed tonight's debate, and I think there was a lot of commonality here. And I'm sympathetic to misspeaking on things, and I think I might have with the senator.
Me too, man.
There's one.
I fucking hate him.
And I say that because I think we need to tell the story. Donald Trump refused to acknowledge this, and the fact is that I don't think we can be the frog in the pot and let the boiling water go up. He was very clear. I mean, he lost this election, and he said he didn't. 140 police officers were beaten at the Capitol that day. Some with the American flag, several later died. And it wasn't just in there. In Minnesota, a group gathered on the state capitol grounds in St. Paul and said, we're marching to the governor's residence and there may be casualties. The only person there was my son and his dog, who was rushed out crying by state police. That issue and Mike Pence standing there as they were chanting, hang Mike Pence. Mike Pence made the right decision. So, Senator, it was adjudicated over and over and over. I worked with kids long enough to know, and I said as a football coach, sometimes you really want to win.
Coach Tim.
But the democracy is bigger than winning an election.
Coach Walz.
You shake hands, and then you try and do everything you can to help the other side win. That's what was at stake here. The thing I'm most concerned about is the idea that imprisoning your political opponents, already laying the groundwork for people not accepting this. And a president's words matter. A president's words matter. People hear that. So I think this issue of settling our differences at the ballot box, shaking hands when we lose, being honest about it, but to deny what happened on January 6th, the first time in American history that a president or anyone tried to overturn a fair election and the peaceful transfer of power. And here we are 4 years later in the same boat. I will tell you this, that when this is over, we need to shake hands this election,
goes on and on
and the winner needs
Yeah.
to be the winner. This has got to stop. It's tearing our
He is
country
using
apart.
all of his time.
Margaret?
My.
Senator Vance, did you want to respond to that?
Yeah, well, look, Tim, first of all, it's really rich for Democratic leaders to say that Donald Trump is a unique threat to democracy when he peacefully gave over power on January the 20th, as we have done for 250 years in this country. We are going to shake hands.
After denying the election results for months and months and months and months.
I hope
It's
that
still
we
to this
win.
day.
I think we're going to win. But if Tim Walz is the next vice president, he'll have my prayers, he'll have my best wishes, and he'll have my help whenever he wants it. But we have to remember that for years in this country, Democrats protested the results of elections. Hillary Clinton in 2016
that was a corny moment.
said that Donald Trump had the election stolen by Vladimir Putin because the Russians bought like $500,000
And January
worth of
6th did not
Facebook ads.
happen.
This has been going on for a long
there was no
time.
riot.
And if
We
we wanna
can't
say
bring
that
up the
we need to
Democrat-Russia
respect the results of the
collusion
election,
shit
I'm on
and then
board. But if
in
we
the
wanna
same
say
breath
that
say
Tim Walz is
J6
saying that
didn't
this is
happen
just
and
a
that it was
problem
worse.
Republicans have had, I don't buy that.
Governor.
January 6th was not Facebook ads. And I think a
Thank you.
revisionist history on this. Look, I
the Russia
don't
stuff's
understand
corny.
how we got
I
to
will
this
say.
point. But the issue was that happened. Donald Trump can do it. And all of us say there's no place for this. It has massive repercussions. This idea that there's censorship to stop people from threatening to kill someone, threatening to do something, that's not censorship. Censorship is book banning. We've seen that.
Okay.
We've seen that brought up.
By
I
who?
just think for
Who's
everyone
banning
tonight,
books?
and I'm going to thank Senator Vance. I think this is the conversation they want to hear. And I think there's a lot of agreement, but this is one that we are miles apart on. This was a threat to our democracy in a way that we had not seen. And it manifested itself because of Donald Trump's inability to say. He is still saying he didn't lose the election. I would just ask that. Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future.
Oh, he can't say
What the hell?
He can't say it.
From speaking their mind in the wake of
JD
the
Vance is a
2020
dumbass.
Answer the
COVID
question.
situation.
Answer the question.
That is a damning non-answer.
It's a damning non-answer for you to not talk about censorship. Obviously, Donald Trump and I think that there were problems in 2020.
He can't do it. He can't do
I'm
it.
happy to talk about it further. But you guys attack us for not believing in democracy. The most sacred right under the United States democracy is the First Amendment. You yourself have said there's no First Amendment right to misinformation. Kamala Harris wants to use the power of government and big tech to silence people from speaking their minds. That is a threat to democracy that will long outlive this present political moment. I would like Democrats and Republicans to both reject censorship. Let's persuade one another. Let's argue about ideas, and then let's come together afterwards.
You can't yell fire in a crowded theater. That's the test. That's the Supreme Court test.
Tim, fire in a crowded theater. You guys wanted to kick people off of Facebook for saying that toddlers shouldn't wear masks.
Senator, the governor does have the floor.
That actually is fire in a crowded theater.
Fire in a crowded theater.
Of the government, which is the right of every American.
Senator, the governor does have the floor for 1 minute to respond to you.
Yeah. Well, I don't run Facebook. What I do know is I see a candidate out there who refused, and now again, and this I'm pretty shocked by this. He lost the election. This is not a debate. It's not anything anywhere other than in Donald Trump's world. Because look, when Mike Pence made that decision to certify that election, that's why Mike Pence isn't on this stage. What I'm concerned about is, where is the firewall with Donald Trump? Where is the firewall if he knows he could do anything, including taking an election, and his vice president's not going to stand to it? That's what we're asking you, America. Will you stand up? Will you keep your oath of office, even if the president doesn't? And I think Kamala Harris would agree. She wouldn't have picked me if she didn't think I would do that, because of course that's what we would do. So America, I think you've got a really clear choice on this election of who's going to honor that democracy and who's going to honor Donald Trump.
Governor, your time is up. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We will be right back with both of our candidates. The CBS News vice presidential debate.
This feels like a good debate for a different era, but we are just not in a time in politics where people give a shit about this. I wish people did.
Yeah,
I wish there wasn't so much media voter syndrome, but
I just Tim Walz keeps yapping, and as someone who yaps for a living partially, I get it, but we could not do the commentary we do on a debate stage. You know what I mean? You got to get to the point, you got to make the point, and you got to make your opponent look stupid. He almost got there when he said, JD Vance, do you think Donald Trump lost the election? Like, will you say that here on the stage? But he should have kept hammering home on it, because he got him. He genuinely got him.
It's that, and it's the constant, we're in agreement. That's fine if it's followed up with, no, honestly, I don't even want to say that's fine. You can be in agreement on what the issues are, because what the issues are like inalienable. Everybody can identify them, but that's not what's important. What's important is drawing contrast between your solutions. Yeah. If you just keep saying we agree, why would a voter want to change their mind? Why would the 3 voters that are on the fence right now and don't know who they're going to vote about want to change their mind if you're just saying that we agree with each other?
And on healthcare, for example, Tim Walz should have said that for the last several years, every time there's a budget proposed, Republicans in the Senate have tried to cut Medicare and Medicaid.
Yeah.
Make the case, draw a contrast, blame the Republican Party and Donald Trump. But he just, he either yaps a bit too much and doesn't get to the point, or he says, we're actually not that far apart on the issues.
No, you are massively far apart. You are so fucking far apart. You are so far apart. That's why this debate isn't working for me. I said, this is a McCain-Obama debate. This would be cool in 2008. But that's just not where we are, man.
Yeah.
We've been saying it for the last 3 and some years of us doing this show. They just need to be on the attack.
Yeah.
And I feel like Tim Walz is, while he's saying the right things, he is foregoing the opportunities to actually attack and actually pin Republicans on these things.
I don't know how a Democratic strategist fake job hasn't come up with the attack that JD Vance is a sitting senator and he could introduce all of these policies right now.
Like he almost got there. He almost got there when he called him Senator Vance.
That's the perfect counter to JD Vance when he says Kamala Harris is vice president right now. She could have introduced all of these policies.
They have expended so much political capital or political messaging capital on the idea that Donald Trump told Republicans to shut down the border bill when the border bill is something that's good. I don't think it's good, but I'll engage with things as they're presented to me. You have the opportunity right there to say Donald Trump told JD Vance to vote no on the border bill that he is supposedly espousing support for, and he voted no.
Yeah.
Like, he's right there.
It's right there.
It's right there in front of you.
Yeah, somebody in the chat said this might go hard with Gen X. Maybe.
No, literally.
Maybe. It might. We still got closing statements to listen to, but I mean, that's my only hope, other than the observation that VP debates just don't matter. Like, I'm sorry, but the things you say during a debate, they got to be able to fit into a TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got to be under 60 seconds. And Kamala Harris did this very well. Even though I think she made some mistakes, I think she could have done better in certain areas during her debate. If not only on like policy areas like Israel and stuff like that. But for Tim Walz, like you gotta lock in and hit the points. You can't yammer and stammer.
Like, shit's gotta be clippable.
Yeah.
Honestly, shit's gotta be clippable. That's what matters right now. That's how you're getting your messaging across. And honestly, the only fucking clippable moment I can think of from this is I'm friends with school shooters.
Because we're gonna clip that. It's going on TikTok tomorrow.
Moral obligation to get that up tomorrow between the hours of like 9 a.m. and 12.
We're straight shooters. You know, we are straight shooters.
Welcome to the spin room, baby.
Yeah. The Democratic Party is known for trying to take the high road. They're fascist though. Like JD Vance he couldn't say that Donald Trump lost the last election, which to me is an indication that he's fine if they try to steal this next one.
Yeah.
Like you can't have like decent high-minded debates with these people.
Oh shit, we're back. Let's go.
Oh.
Welcome back to the CBS News vice presidential debate. It is now time for the closing statement. Senator Vance won the virtual coin toss and elected to go last.
Virtual
Walz,
coin toss? What is this,
first.
COVID?
You have 2 minutes.
Well, thank you, Senator Vance. Thank you to CBS News. And most importantly, thank you to all of you. If you're still up and the folks who miss Dancing with the Stars, I appreciate it. But look, the support of the democracy matters. It matters that you're here. And I'm as surprised as anybody of this coalition that Kamala Harris has built, from Bernie Sanders to Dick Cheney to Taylor Swift.
Oh,
and
please
a whole
stop.
bunch of folks in between.
Please stop.
And they don't all agree on everything.
That's an anti-endorsement.
Optimistic people. They believe in a positive future
JD
of this
Vance
country.
is going to use that in his closing statement,
can be
brother.
better than it is. And I have to tell you, that better than it is the sense of optimism that there can be an opportunity economy that works for everyone, not just to get by, but to get ahead.
Bruh.
And the idea that freedom really means something. Not the freedom of government to be in your bedroom or exam room, but the freedom for you to make choices about yourself. Now, look, we all know who Donald Trump is. He's told us, and as Maya Angelou said, believe him when he told you that. His first inaugural address talks about American carnage. And then he spent 4 years trying to maybe do that. Senator Vance tonight made it clear he will stand with Donald Trump's agenda. He will continue to push down that road. Excuse me. Kamala Harris gives us a different option. Now, I'll have to tell you, I'm going to be careful about the quotes, but there's one that Senator Vance said that does resonate with me. He said, Donald Trump makes the people I care about afraid. A lot of America feels that way.
Okay.
Oh,
we don't need to be afraid. Franklin Roosevelt was right. All we have to fear is fear itself. Kamala Harris is bringing us a new way forward. She's bringing us a politics of joy. She's bringing real solutions for the middle class, and she's centering you at the heart of that. All the while asking everyone, join this movement, make your voices heard. Let's look for a new day where everybody gets that opportunity and everybody gets a chance to thrive. I humbly ask for your vote on November 5th for Kamala Harris.
Governor Walz, thank you. Senator Vance, your closing statement.
Well, I want to thank Governor Walz, you folks at CBS, and of course the American people for tuning in this evening. And one of the issues we didn't talk about was energy. And I remember when I was
You
being
literally
raised by
did.
my grandmother,
You
when
literally
she didn't
talked
have
about
enough
how
money
that's
to
the number
turn on
one
the
driver
heat
of
some
home
nights
costs.
because Ohio gets pretty cold at night and because money was often very
You did
tight.
talk about energy.
And I believe, as a person who wants to be your next vice president, that we are a rich and prosperous enough country where every American, whether they're rich or poor, ought to be able to
energy
turn on their heat
really
in the
enough
middle
of
of a
an
cold
issue
winter night. That's gotten more difficult
to
thanks
be
to
doing
Kamala
this?
Harris's
I think it's
energy
just folded
policies.
into costs
I believe
generally.
that whether
Yeah.
you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford a nice meal for your family. That's gotten harder because of Kamala Harris's policies.
It's not.
I believe that whether you're rich or poor, you ought to be able to afford to buy a house. You ought to be able to live in safe neighborhoods. You ought to not have your communities flooded with fentanyl. And that too has gotten harder with Kamala because of Kamala Harris's policies. Now, I've been in politics long enough to do what Kamala Harris does when she stands before the American people and
He's been in
says
politics for
that on
2
day
years.
one, she's going to work on all these challenges I just listed. She's been the vice president for 3.5 years.
And you've been a
Day one
senator
was
for 2 years.
1,400
Yeah,
days
he's-
ago, and
he's
her
the least
policies have made
experienced
these
one in this
problems
election.
worse. Now, I believe that we have the most beautiful country in the world. I meet people on the campaign trail who can't afford food, but have the grace and generosity to ask me how I'm doing and to tell me they're praying for my family. What that has taught me is that we have the greatest country, the most beautiful country, the most incredible people anywhere in the world. But they're not going to be able to achieve their full dreams with the broken leadership that we have in Washington. They're not going to be able to live their American dream if we do the same thing that we've been doing for the last 3.5 years. We need change. We need a new direction. We need a president who has already done this once before and did it well. Please vote for Donald Trump. And whether you vote for me or vote for Tim Walz, I just want to say I'm so proud to be doing this, and I'm rooting for you. God bless you, and good night.
Senator Vance,
What the
thank
fuck?
you.
Honestly,
And thank you both for
probably a
participating
better
in the
closing
only
statement
vice
than
presidential
Tim's,
debate of this
but,
election
yeah,
cycle.
it's the last
I'm Margaret
debate of this
Brennan.
election
And
cycle,
I'm Nora
unfortunately.
O'Donnell, and a reminder there are
No
just
bingo?
35 days until
35 days until the general?
Yeah, no bingo. No bingo is how you know this shit fucking sucked.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Jesus Christ.
that
Honestly,
was-
that shit was boring.
Yeah, it was boring. JD Vance lied a bunch.
What are they doing? Why are they talking to each other, bruh? That guy sucks. What?
Yeah, that could have been better, but I'm glad that these debates don't matter whatsoever. You guys
Absolutely,
can't see this. Hold on, they're like kissing on stage right now.
Yeah,
What's
they
going
are.
on? What? Why are you being nice?
Or are
like,
those their spouses?
He's fine with like stealing an election.
No, literally, he did not answer your question.
Oh yeah, their spouses. Yeah. That was yeah. JD Vance. JD Vance he specializes in being a sort of chameleon. Like when he changes his political positions in the way that he talks about them, dependent on the audience that he's around. If he's on a right-wing podcast, he will go off about how postmenopausal women need to participate more and yada yada yada. Or if you're having trouble affording childcare expenses, maybe your grandma should just take care of the kids. Or he'll say the thing about how if somebody is raped and wants to get an abortion, it's just an inconvenience. Like he'll say all these crazy things, but then when he gets on a debate stage, he will pretend to be very reasonable and trying to fight for the working class. And the job of someone like Tim Walz, who is actively debating him, is to call him out on this nonsense. Memorize 5 different lines from JD Vance on various different issues and say, okay, you believe that we should help the working class. Why did you say that you're not going to help unions because they're not in support of Republicans?
Yeah.
It's basic shit like that you got to be able to do if you're in a debate, because a debate nowadays is not actually sharing a policy platform. It is making your opponent look stupid. That's the point of these debates. And I feel like Tim Walz didn't do that. We historically have not been very good at predicting how voters are going to view these debates.
Yes.
But I personally am a little disappointed because I know Tim Walz has a better policy platform than he demonstrated for us.
And honestly, I feel like the biggest missed opportunity here was not getting JD Vance, when talking about childcare, was not getting him on his quote saying that grandma and grandpa need to step up.
Yeah.
Why was that not hammered home? Why was that statement not hammered in there when JD Vance is talking about policies or the fucking corporate tax rate?
Yeah.
That's such an easy layup for Tim Walz to say. JD Vance wants to talk about making it easier for corporations. I want to talk about making it easy for you. JD Vance thinks these solutions are getting grandma and grandpa that may not exist anymore to try and help with these kids. Like,
yeah.
Man,
yeah.
just,
the thing that Channel T just put in the chat, like JD Vance and Donald Trump lied about the cats and dogs thing for Springfield, Ohio, and JD Vance literally admitted to lying about it to get attention on an issue he thinks is important. You need to say JD Vance is lying about immigrants in his own state to drum up fear about immigration and make it easier for him to get elected. That's all you got to say.
I think a big story surrounding like the narratives that are coming out of like this debate, the last debate, and general like messaging in this election is that Democrats are afraid to kind of keep bringing things up.
Yeah.
I think we got lucky because Trump has absolutely no restraint, and he's the one that would keep bringing up the cats and dogs thing. Kamala got very lucky with that. But I think they're kind of showing us that they aren't willing to just hammer home statements that they are actually making in public outside of attack ads. But I mean, honestly, those aren't even them. That's PACs going ahead and doing it.
Yeah.
And I just don't understand.
I don't know how much of this boils down to the debate prep or Tim Walz just generally, like his general personal disposition, not being very good at debating. Like, I don't know what the root cause of this is, but if you're going to be up there, you got to be able to make the points. And Tim Walz isn't like incoherent, right?
Yeah.
Like he's not Joe Biden like levels of cognitively not there.
He was doing a good job.
He's just like the rhetoric isn't there. So that was a little disappointing, but it is what it is.
And it's like he was saying the right things. He was saying stuff that was technically true. He was giving out good retorts. If this was debate class,
yeah.
Like frankly, I just don't think anybody like. People should want to see that, but I don't think that's what people are gonna see. That's not what's swaying anything.
But look, this debate night isn't completely a failure though, because we are currently at $1935. $1,935 raised for PCRF through this live stream.
Can we hit 2?
That's about $500, a little bit more than $500 away from our goal. If you click the link,
can we hit 2.5?
If you click the link in the pinned comment, it will take you to the donate page. Donate something to PCRF.
Exactly. We got 264 of you in the chat.
Yeah.
I think we could make it.
They talked about it very little at the beginning of the debate, like the conflict with Israel and escalation and all that kind of stuff. But it obviously didn't get the attention it deserved. It didn't get the rhetoric that it certainly deserves on a national stage in a debate like this. So, it's important that people are dedicated to sharing it and people are dedicated to, helping.
Yeah,
in any way they can.
It is very notable that the only reason that just the Middle East got brought up at all is because of Iran's attacks. And the only question that was asked is, would you say that Israel can just authorize a preemptive strike? Like, would you say that we could escalate things? That was the only question that was asked about the region. So we were on the money when we said, 2 pods ago, they're not going to bring up foreign policy? In a way.
Yeah, and it's like the thing, like Tim Walz, he got to the JCPOA part of it. Like he brought it up. But it's just good. And that demonstrates a sort of understanding of policy, because I feel like he probably wasn't prepped on the JCPOA. Like Kamala Harris, I don't think brought that up in her debate against Donald Trump. So that demonstrates to me that like he knows what he's talking about. He's aware of the policy. He spoke like he knows what he's talking about on the ACA. You got to get to the point quicker, man, because debates are meant to be clipped. People don't watch. We watch the entire debate. People here watch the entire debate, but we get millions more views on our debate clips than we do the debate VOD itself.
Yeah, and it's also like if I wasn't doing politics for a partial living, I'm not coming home after work.
Yeah,
after a long day of work and just putting on the TV to watch this debate, the fucking VP debate.
Yeah,
and if I was watching a commentator's live, though, that's different.
It's because it's entertaining.
That's genuinely different because there's an extra layer of something to be entertained by. But somebody put it in the chat. Distractions are U.S. politics has just evolved to the point where it's a clip fest, and that just wasn't clippable. I couldn't say it better myself.
I think JD Vance basically did what he needed to do here. He came across as more moderate. He didn't say anything about ovulation or menstrual cycles or anything like that. He didn't say anything overtly weird.
Yeah.
He danced around the question on, Trump trying to steal the election. He danced around the question on abortion, and Tim Walz really didn't hammer him in the way that he could have. He danced around the question on immigration, basically didn't answer, like, how are you going to deport 25 million people that are here illegally? They keep downplaying it, but I feel like it's Democrats' job to say, like, that it's ethnic cleansing, and it's going to be a mass death event because you can't move that many people that quickly.
And it's also just, like I said while that was happening, underscoring that all is how are you going to find these people? How are you going to figure out who's here illegally? A big part of, I guess, the issue as they frame it is we don't know. You can't just fucking look at somebody and say, oh, you're probably here illegally. Although that would be the only reasonable way to try. Reasonable. I say that with scare quotes. Way to try and even implement something like this.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a crazy bingo card. That's how it ended up.
Yeah, we're about to take a look at this bingo card.
Let's give our bingo review.
Let me get it on screen. Zoom out a little bit. We'll cut back over here. What? This is just the regular bingo card. Hold on.
Take a good look before we look at what spaces got filled out.
Thought I downloaded the. Hold on. Here it is. So somebody dropped this in our Discord, so we're going to trust that they got the correct information.
Yes. I was surprised that after Tim Walz brought up something like not a riot in Minnesota, but like something after the election, like a January 6th
people storming
type
the
event.
governor's mansion, yeah.
Yes, I'm surprised that after that, JD Vance didn't retort with, well, it was much worse when Minneapolis burned down under your watch.
Yeah, like JD Vance really tamped it down on the crazy lines.
He showed a lot of restraint. While Tim Walz talked too much, I feel like JD Vance, I don't know. I feel like he talked too little. I don't know.
Yeah.
This shit sucked.
JD Vance really, and that's what I meant when I say that he's able to moderate himself really well, like depending on the audience that he has. He didn't say anything like he usually does about immigrants that was like super duper racist. He drew that back a lot. Wasn't super weird about women. He almost got there with him like implying that women are like forced to go back to their jobs.
When talking about the childcare stuff and maternity leave.
It was weird, but like, you know, he was obviously holding back a little bit. But I mean, it's tough. It's tough, and Tim Walz got to be able to call that stuff out because it's on the record.
I'm surprised they didn't mention the longshoreman strike.
Yeah,
that's weird. They mentioned it in the beginning. The moderators mentioned it, I think, but they never asked a question about it. And I don't know, that goes hand in hand with the economy. This is a strike that potentially could last, like, a while.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for Donald Trump. That's another one that I'm surprised we didn't get. But, I mean, we got it in spirit, you know what I'm saying? But
yeah, he didn't even mention the childless cat ladies thing. Like, come on.
And we got an allusion to JD Vance being backed by billionaires, but we didn't get, like, a call-out.
Yeah.
Should have got a Peter Thiel call-out. I just think we just are missing attacks when we shouldn't be. You need to stop trusting my bingo card. Maybe. I drink while doing this.
We are currently at, for PCRF, we are at 2085.
2085, we're so close,
about
folks.
$400 away from the goal. If we can't get there, I'll be disappointed in you, but it's a disappointing night already.
Exactly. Yeah, just adding to my disappointment.
Either way, I'm very proud. That's another $2,000 raised, and it's only been... I guess it's since June, so a couple of months, 4 months or so since we did this last time. Oh my God,
I can't believe it was June when we did it last time.
Yeah, we really didn't get, and I think JD Vance was trying to come across as like a respectful politician.
Oh yeah, I think that
which is why he didn't call out his family. He didn't say anything crazy like Minnesota has become Somalia or anything.
Yeah,
like
and
that.
I think that's something that he adopted kind of halfway through. He was definitely coming into this with the idea that he's going to show restraint, but once Tim Walz started kind of hammering home the idea that we agree on these issues, JD Vance started to kind of bite that flow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say he's good at it, but like he knows what he's doing. At least a little bit.
Yeah, and it's like with the Springfield thing, like JD Vance was making a sort of economic argument where he's saying that all these immigrants that Kamala Harris has dumped on Springfield, Ohio, have made it hard for working class Americans to, buy a house, continue to do their jobs and stuff like this. The retort there for Tim Walz is to just call his bluff. Be like, okay, then I challenge you tomorrow to sign a bill or introduce a bill, I suppose, that would fund, however many millions of dollars for translators, for people that will help with driver's training in the United States, in your state of Ohio, for people that will clean up shortages or make up shortages in the hospital system in Ohio. Like Republicans won't do that because they're against government intervention in that way.
If you want to talk about how immigrants, the Haitian immigrants specifically in Springfield, Ohio, have contributed to, I don't know, overwhelming of translator services in schools or overwhelming of other services.
Yeah.
You need the Democrat or the opposition to be able to bring up the idea that, well, these Haitian immigrants not only were an economic boom in general for the Springfield economy, but they increased the tax base for the economy.
Yes.
So that's more revenue coming in that you can then distribute to fund these services that are overwhelmed. Like,
yeah,
I don't know. I wonder what the narratives are coming out of the debate.
I'm trying to look. We can. I feel like scrolling Twitter's a bad idea because you'll get anything on here.
Yes, that's true.
Skimming for something
I'm
good.
heading off. Thank you, Baja Brain Blast, for your service.
Thank you.
Got to work in the morning. Good night, everyone. Good night to you, especially. Sleep tight. Don't let the illegal trans aliens bite.
This is
you
good.
forgot prisoner. If you CBS, how dare you? Tried to fact check. JD put you in your place. You won't.
Like what is this? I don't even remember what this is in reference to.
This was the tamest like debate. Like, man, I don't know.
Oh, thank you,
1999
Chip. Who wants to match the same energy of me and Veronica, aka V's top dono? Do y'all not want to condemn Hamas and Hezbollah?
Precisely.
Absolutely.
Precisely, Chip. I could not have put it better myself.
$390 away.
I could not put it better myself. That's crazy. Like, coming at this kind of energy from Megyn Kelly for this debate.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That's crazy.
So we need another Trump Kamala debate. What did Ben Shapiro say? Vance delivered a stellar performance. Walz stumbled and bubbled. The moderators were trash. The moderators didn't do anything.
Yeah.
They literally just asked questions, and then when it was getting rowdy, moderated it once.
I don't know what the fuck.
If
It's
you're
so
a
dumb.
conservative, you can just say anything. Like, it's the easiest job in the world, bro.
Easiest job.
Just for the freaks, that's true.
We're just scrolling here. I know you guys can't see. I'm just worried about like porn popping up because that shit happens.
Posobiec? No homo, but JD Vance is so telegenic. Jack Posobiec loved the eyeliner.
Anyways,
we can queen out together later.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little disappointed, but I guess who cares, right? It's just a stupid little stupid little debate that nobody cares
This one's
about.
just for us. This one's just for us.
Oh yeah, this was the fact check. Hold on, this is a helpful clip.
Oh,
from
and
Kamala
that's
HQ.
when he's like, "You're trying to fact check me right now." Like, yeah.
Instant replay. A few hours later.
Thank you, Governor. And just to clarify for our viewers, Springfield, Ohio does have a large number of Haitian migrants who have legal status, temporary protected status. Nora?
but
Thank you.
Senator, we have so much to get to.
Margaret, I think it's important
We're
because
going to turn out of the
debate-
economy. Thank
Margaret,
you.
the rules were that
The
you guys
economy,
weren't going to
we're-
fact check.
You guys can't call out my
Governor,
lies.
and just
Yeah,
You
wait,
guys can't call out my lies.
That's
Oh
a funny
God.
line. You guys, you said you wouldn't. That's good. That's pretty good.
It's the Hiddo Twitter feed. It's the Hiddo Twitter feed. We promise.
Yeah, hit a Twitter
It's
feed.
all conservatives.
Yeah, you never know what's gonna happen. What kind of slurs you'll get. I extra careful. Extra careful.
Oh, what did Meghan McCain say? Vance is absolutely sweeping the floor. Oh my God. It's like the end of Mortal Kombat game. Corny! Corny jail! Oh my God!
Vance is absolutely sweeping the floor. Is like the end of a Mortal Kombat game, and this debate just started.
I read this with the finish him voice in my mind. LOL, brother, come on. Come on.
Golly, man.
If I ever put out a tweet like that, bro, put me down.
Put me out of my misery. Oh my God, we're at 32-20 or no, 23-20.
23-20.
Yeah, 23-20. Okay, so that right.
23-20.
Jeez.
Vance is focused and answered every question. Tim Walz did look like he was tweaking. I can't lie. He
Yeah.
did. He did.
He looked like he wasn't really prepared for it. It was kind of weird.
We're pro-woman. I know a woman. She's watching, and she would not support my policy.
Yeah, that moment was crazy. That moment was crazy where JD Vance was like, I have a friend who had an abortion when she was like a teenager or whatever. And she told me recently that if she hadn't had the abortion, she isn't like sure if she would still be here. She would have been like crippled forever.
Yeah.
Under your policies, that's exactly what would have happened.
I guess the clippable moments out of this are not from like the retorts. It's just from
JD Vance
being himself.
Yeah.
God damn.
Oh my God. Yeah, George Santos should be going to jail. Free George Santos, free Eric
honestly,
Adams.
I'm disappointed that we didn't get the Dick Cheney mention on the bingo card. In hindsight, that absolutely should have been on the bingo card.
Yeah.
And I can't believe it.
Why did he do
Tim
that?
Walz
Why did
that
he
said it?
Why did he bring up Dick Cheney? It's an anti-endorsement.
The only vice president to ever do anything. Tonight, Democrats are probably mourning, allowing their... What the fuck?
Wait, what is this? Is this a compliment?
I don't know.
On. Chad, tell me if this is a compliment. JD Vance with the A10 stare?
Chad, is this real?
I know this poster. He's a conservative.
Chad, is this real?
What?
Guys, what's the reference here?
Out of
touch.
It's fine. I don't understand.
As a child that grew in a woman's womb.
Anyway, I don't think we're getting anything crazy out of Twitter right now. I'm looking desperately for some funny takes.
Yeah,
but it wasn't that crazy.
I just know that I'm not going to log in and see memes about going to Ohio. You know what I mean? Like, this isn't.
Yeah.
This isn't like the presidential.
Let's see what we're at for PCRF at the very least. The best thing to come out of this debate so far is all the money we've raised for PCRF.
This is unironically true.
Folks, we're only $270 away. No, wait. $170 away. Folks, we can do it.
Oh, come on.
Folks,
yeah,
we can donate $170. We can donate $170. We're so little.
If Dems were going to be this pro-Israel and neuter whatever progressive momentum they would have gotten by the Walz pick, they should have just went with Josh Shapiro.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. I still like Walz more than Josh Shapiro, but
the problem is, like, the Tim Walz pick was a really good idea from the Harris campaign, and at the time, it was a sign that they were taking the progressive wing of the Democratic Party, the Democratic electorate, more seriously. But ever since Tim Walz has been chosen, all the things that make him progressive have basically been absent from the campaign. They haven't talked about, the universal free school lunch. They haven't talked about really like the labor policies or the paid maternity leave policies. We got a little bit of that in the debate, but it hasn't been Kamala Harris's on Kamala Harris's main platform. So it seems like they picked him. They made some people happy for a moment. But then they just kind of forgot why people were happy that he was picked.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I mean, and I get it, like the VP doesn't matter. The only thing you need to think about for a VP is that they won't fuck things up for you, which, fine. But like what, we could have had more. They were going in the right direction.
At this point, I still think Walz is a better pick just to draw a contrast with JD Vance. And I wish he would do some of that contrast drawing himself, but I don't know, man. It does suck that they've just given up on all the momentum they had in like the first 3 weeks.
Yeah. It was kind of, I mean, I guess I'm glad it doesn't matter, but it's just like, well, could have been better.
Yeah, nothing ever happens, famously.
Maybe my opinions on these things tend to change after a little while, so maybe I'll wake up tomorrow and think like, okay, that debate actually went better than I thought it did.
Have a revelation.
Yeah. I mean, like with the Biden thing, at first I was like, I don't know, replacing him could be a bad idea. Then after like a day, I was like, no, this guy's got to fucking go. You know what I mean?
To be fair, with the Biden thing, that take is heavily reliant on where like voters felt. You know what I mean? Yeah. And voters felt so awful about that debate that it fundamentally was unpredictable.
Yeah, I don't think people are going to be talking about this very long. I don't even know if we'll talk about it on the next episode.
I don't think people are going to talk about this. I don't even... depending on the news cycle, I guess, if there's just news that comes out this week at all, is it even worth a presidential debate recap?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know if it will be because we've got war in the Middle East. We're only $80 away from our goal, by the way.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. Yeah, next episode we have ground invasion in Lebanon, Iranian missiles, and then whatever the
Southern
fuck else
cities
happens.
underwater.
Southern cities underwater, and whatever else happens between Lebanon, Israel, Iran, Gaza in the next 5 days.
Yeah.
Which is a very long time.
But we're only $80 away from our goal. We're at $24.20. We are so close. If somebody could just spare, if a couple of you could just spare something, we'll get to our goal, and I'll be very happy.
Midwestern boys, too nice. They're both
anyway,
Midwestern.
What did you guys think? Sum up your thoughts on the debate in one sentence.
This could have been a debate between good Midwestern, bad Midwestern, and instead we just agreed. What's going on?
And the purge. Oh yeah, Donald Trump did recently say that like if we could have 1 hour to teach them a lesson or something like that.
God.
Let me see if I can pull up that because that was actually crazy. Trump. Purge.
Everybody around him has got to be like, no more debate. You are not getting back on the debate stage, Trump.
Oh, it was Day of Violence, a national day of violence. We can watch this to finish off the stream.
God.
Yeah, the purge. I forgot that he said this. This is a banger.
And while we're watching,
they didn't want to go over the
$950. For context, he's talking about shoplifting. That was like the topic.
Standing with calculators, adding it up. These are smart
smart people. They're not so stupid, but they have to be taught. Now, if you had one really violent day, like a guy like Mike Kelly, put him in charge, Congressman Kelly, put him in charge for one day. Mike, would you say, he's right here, he's a great congressman. Would you say, Mike, that if you were in charge, you would say, oh, please, don't touch them. Don't touch them. Let them rob your store. Let all these stores go out of business, right? They don't pay rent. Then the city doesn't have money. It's a chain of events. It's so bad.
I'm pretty sure the Retail Federation came out and were like, yeah, we fudged a lot of these statistics.
The word will get out. Rough hour. And I mean real rough. The word will get out, and it will end immediately.
I see what he's trying to do. You don't get it. He's de-escalating by escalating.
Oh, of course.
It's a famous strategy.
Of course.
A famous strategy that's known to work.
Yeah, he's basically saying, oh my God, we're $5
We're $5 away.
$24.95.
A fiver?
A fiver. Everyone's got $5.
A five?
Everyone's got $5.
I agree with the ghoul somewhat. My summary of the debate.
Oh my God. Folks. Number went up. We hit the number.
Number go up.
Number
go up, baby.
Yeah,
number go up.
Trump's just calling for a night of broken glass, right? Like, just do violence, crack some fucking skulls, and then they'll learn their lesson. But of course, when a regime does that, when a government does that, it's never just one day, right? Like, they do it, but it's all just to earn authorization to eventually do it again or up the ante.
Veronica, did JD actually accuse Kamala of doing witchcraft?
My God, we're going to some like 1600s level misogyny.
Trump is so lucky he picked a running mate with some restraint. He's so lucky he picked a guy that can actually tone it down a little bit.
I'm gonna screenshot this, put it on our story once we end this live stream. I'm very proud of you guys once again for raising money.
Yeah, that's crazy.
For PCRF, I think what's that in total now? Like $6,000 that we've raised.
We did 32.
So almost 6,000.
Almost 6,000. Yeah.
That's impressive. You guys are locked in.
That's nuts.
Unlike Tim Walz for most of the debate.
Oh God, other communities could never. I think I don't know how I'm gonna feel about Tim Walz's performance in the morning. It's just genuinely something I gotta sleep on because it's like
we could have had it all, man.
I liked the content of the things he was saying, but like it's too much. It just needed to be refined.
Yeah,
I guess that's the summary. Is he needed to be refined and more on message. That's what it was lacking. He was lacking a coherent narrative that spanned through all of his things. He lacked something that he could tie things back to. And man,
well, and that's the problem with Democrats broadly. We've been saying this since the start of the show. Memorize their voting record and bring up adjacent or related bills and be like, okay, you support this for the working class. Why'd you vote no on the bill?
There's literally no reason to not say JD Vance voted no on the border bill.
There's got to be like hundreds of examples. There's got to be 100. Like JD Vance, you're right now campaigning on an expanded child tax credit. You weren't there for the vote that just happened in the Senate.
Literally. I don't understand why this isn't just something that they do generally. I don't understand why it's not something. Biden did do this like once or twice where he talked about oh God, what was it? How there were Senate like House Republicans in the midterms that were running on bringing money to their district through the IRA.
Yeah.
Why are we not talking about that more? They voted no.
Yeah.
They voted no.
It's the best reason I feel like to voters to not vote for these people again. Like they're saying they're going to do things for you and they're literally voting no on the things they say they want to do.
Yes. Or JD Vance is the only person of the four people in this race that can actually introduce something that could actually make a change now.
JD Vance could do it. And it would mean more coming from a Republican because it's from the party that stands in the way of progress on all of these issues. Like, I'm pretty sure paid maternity leave was a component that was being added to Build Back Better when it was far more broad than just the IRA. And it was voted down by Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, but the entire Republican Party.
All 50 of them.
Paid maternity leave could have been a thing in this country. It isn't right now. There's no federally guaranteed right to maternity leave or paid paternity leave. Could have been a thing. Republicans voted it down. Nail him on that. It's your party.
Yes, and I guess that goes back to what I'm saying about how Democrats are just so scared of bringing things up from the past.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. Like, I literally don't understand why. It's not like that has had bad electoral consequences. You know what I mean? The only time where I guess you could say Democrats were annoying about it was in 2016, but anybody else could have done that other than Hillary and would have won. It like they took all the wrong lessons from 2016.
Yeah.
Joe Biden was doing progressive things in 2020 with his run. He was doing progressive things with his first year in office, and we're just turning our backs on it.
And it's a fundamental misunderstanding of like why polarization is such a thing right now. Like polarization is not such an issue for this country because Democrats were like too contentious or something like that. I think they recognize that it's Republicans. It's Donald Trump who tried to steal a goddamn election last time, and he still denies the results of the 2020 election, and it seems like he's going to try to steal this one as well.
Yeah.
We are so polarized because of him and figures like him that go along with whatever he has to say. You don't undo that polarization by trying to make friends with the fascist. You have to defeat them, and then we can be unified. But they have to be marginalized first.
No, there's not a single person on this goddamn earth that isn't just a loyalist, hardline Republican voter that thinks that Joe Biden is a radical. There are millions of people that think that Trump is a radical. There are millions of people that think that Trump has gone way too far. But nobody actually seriously think that Democrats are the radical party. As much as conservatives try to pin them as that, fucking people don't even think that Bernie Sanders is that fucking radical. Like
when you explain the ideas to them, then the policies feel a lot more reasonable. But if you just say like, "Oh, the Democrats," they'd be like, "Oh, you mean the communists?"
God damn, man. It's just it's ridiculous. And
yeah, conservative Reddit popping off. I'm glad they don't decide elections.
I'm too concerned about my mental health to look into r/conservative. Stay away. It's a cesspool.
Anyways, I mean, I think it'll be enough ultimately for Democrats to sort of limp across the finish line. But it didn't have to be this difficult, man. Especially on foreign policy, it did not have to be this hard.
Oh my God,
we're just making it harder for ourselves. They love it out the mud.
They do.
They love it out the mud.
They do. They're just hustlers.
Yeah. Anyways, we made it to our goal. I'm very proud of you guys. More than $2,500 to PCRF.
That's so sick.
That brings
That's
us up
so cool.
to almost 6,000 in total that this community has raised for the Palestine Children's Relief Fund. And as I said at the top of this, it's not just money for people in Gaza, although that is very important. It's just money for funding for people that have been affected by everything that Israel is doing right now, which includes people in Lebanon and elsewhere.
It's money for people that are just like the casual victims of just abhorrent violence.
Yeah.
So that they can like fucking eat and shit.
Yeah, get access to vaccines, medicine.
Yeah. Basic human needs and rights. And, got to give a special shout out to our top donors. I'm pretty sure it's Chip and Veronica, aka V.
Yeah, very proud of you guys.
Amazing.
Thank you to everybody that donated. Thank you to everybody that came out and watched the debate with us. Glad that you were here. And on next week's episode, of course, tomorrow's episode that's coming out, we didn't talk about this because it hadn't happened yet. But next week's episode probably won't feature very much vice presidential debate breakdown. So if you want it, you got to be here.
Yeah,
video will remain up.
It's probably just going to be a retrospective and not like a point-by-point thing like we were doing with the presidentials because like.
I hope we get another presidential though.
I'm praying for it. So. I want it more than anything.
Another presidential will go crazy. If Kamala Harris ends up doing like a town hall style thing because Trump doesn't want to participate, then maybe we'll live stream that. If it's like, that picture with John Ossoff, where it's just him next to an empty podium because his opponent didn't want to show up, maybe we can live stream for that. Maybe we can fundraise for that as well. We'll see what sort of structure that takes on before making a decision. But thank you for coming out. Very successful.
Very successful.
Another hit of success.
Yes. And, just have a great night, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. And we love you.
We do.